Hello, welcome to Hazardous Opinions. I'm Eric. There's Andy.
Hello.
And today we are covering The Walking Dead, Season 1 of the Telltale series.
Yes, the video game, not the TV show.
Yeah.
Don't
And in
don't get it mixed
all
up.
its forms of media, we are talking about the video game. The Telltale series video game, because there's a lot of IPs, Walking Dead IPs out there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, this it really originally released back in 2012. A bit of an older game, but kind of started the episodic type of games that you'd see a lot. Telltale definitely pioneered this for the most part and is the main contributor to these episodic games. They released about 4 seasons, I think, and then some DLC for this Telltale Walking Dead series. For reference, the edition I'm playing for this game is the 2019 Walking Dead collection. It was helped developed and published in part by Skybound, who kind of took over during Telltale's demise with The Walking Dead. Telltale, as many people know, kind of dissolved. I think it's 1718. Seems like they're back again from what I found out recently, and we're actually getting a Wolf Among Us 2 here soon. But they release a lot of really good IPs despite the consistent issues with the engine, as I'm sure we'll talk about here a little bit as well.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of there being any issues with the engine. Are you talking about like the whole engine of like the storytelling and the dialogue?
Just for their like graphical engine, just how they create the games itself. I believe this is Telltale's own IP engine, like it's their own created one in house.
Oh, okay.
I felt that it played a little bit better on the remastered edition that I had, but I still noticed a lot of graphical errors in facial animations that just sometimes look really weird, or were obviously not the correct facial animation to play at certain times, or just issues when you're walking around the game. And then I also did crash quite a handful of times throughout this game. Could just be more of the remastered edition issues, but I do remember there being a lot of graphical issues when I played previous editions on the 360 and 1 as well.
Oh, okay.
But this game is available on all consoles, so it might play better on PC. I know when I played on Windows before, it never had much trouble, so it could just be a generational platform issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, this despite the graphical technical issues at times, I love the hell out of these games overall.
Yeah, it was a great series to play through. This would be like, I remember playing The Walking Dead episode 1 a long time ago when it first came out, and I really liked it. But this was the first time I actually played through the whole season, because I guess I kind of fell off the series after they started releasing them one at a time and having to pay money for each of them. I just wasn't too fond of that for a 2-hour game,
like
so
4 months apart to get just a couple hours of content.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, yeah, not right now. But like playing it through now, I was able to play it because it came out with Xbox Live Gold, and so I had it. I had the whole thing, so I was able to play it.
Yeah, I think one of the best-selling tactics that Telltale came up with as well is giving that first episode away for free. I don't know if that the new remastered seasons are all bundled. They're not episodic anymore. They're episodic, but they're not sold episodically. But when it originally released, you had to buy it as like DLC for each episode, and they would give you the first episode free, and then everything after that you had to pay for. So they do a really good job at hooking you in on that first episode.
That kind of was the same thing with Hitman. The first Hitman, I had the same thing happen. I play Hitman all the time now, but like,
yeah,
the same thing was happening where you get the first episode or the first level free, and you have to buy the rest of them as they came out. But with 2 and 3, they bundled up all the levels into one actual whole game, and so it was actually just a whole game. And then with those ones, you're actually able to play like the past levels and stuff and all that. So basically, now it turned into Hitman World of Assassination, where it just bundled all 3 games into one game, and it's actually like a really big game now. So like something like that is really cool, but it's just not practical in terms of like selling individual 2 hour episodes. You know,
Yeah, it's one of those features that I'm glad didn't catch on widespread. Like it
yep,
worked for Telltale, but arguably the games are better as one cohesive edition.
that's true.
I do like the episodic nature in the game. It just should be sold all as one game, and then still have those episodic breaks to like give you that TV drama, I guess.
Yeah, with
Uh,
previously on The Walking Dead, I really
yeah,
enjoyed those parts. Giving you a quick rundown of all the decisions you made and stuff in the past episode, and kind of wrapping it up all into one, uh, previously. So like, I think
yep.
that's really cool. I've never really seen that in any other games, but yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and it does really good for when, of course, you're waiting for months for each episode to come out. It gets you quickly wrapped up without having to play the last episode again. I still really like it for dramatic effect, though, because as you're going into episode 2, then you're like, okay, these were the key points of episode 1 I should remember. These were the
Hmm.
decisions I made, and this is what I should be continuing to follow for my character.
Yeah, and it's good to know all that stuff because throughout the game, as you make decisions, there's certain decisions that you make that other characters will remember, and I'm not exactly sure what happens behind the scenes exactly and how that works, but I don't know if it like changes what scenario you're in or what kind of dialogue options you have when the time arises when that person remembers. But yeah, in general, it is good to know all the things that you did before.
Yeah, I would say someone's played these a lot. Unlike As Dusk Falls, where you have a huge tree of options, uh, this game is very bilinear. I guess I would say like there's
Oh,
usually 2 or 3 different ending type things per game, but for the most part, like all your little decisions don't really matter because one of and this might be a spoiler for future games, but it's Telltale's kind of I don't know the word, like their base skill. And
yeah.
one of the things they put into this game is if a character can die, they will die. So it
Oh,
doesn't matter if you save them at one point, they're going to die later. Like,
oh,
so there's no drastic decision differences because even if you have these 2 big linear options, they still find a way to make it connect again so that they
okay.
don't have to carry 8 different endings into season 2,
Yeah,
32 endings into season 3, and so on.
that makes sense. And like I haven't played Mass Effect, but you've played Mass Effect. So, like, how would you compare like the storytelling on how it carries characters on throughout the games in your decisions with them? Like how does that compare to like this?
A little biased as a big Mass Effect fan, I guess, big
Yeah.
Walking Dead fan as well. But Mass Effect does a amazing job of carrying over your decisions. Like it's littler. Like there's less huge decisions they're going to play in as a continuing huge role, but you will continuously see several just numerous small instances of your decisions carrying over to make it feel more like a real world for Mass Effect 2 and 3. Whereas in this one, we're going to end the game here with a certain amount of characters. And then when you go into season 2, there's no chance of bringing any of those characters over.
Oh, so they may get brought into season two, but they're not going to survive till season three. Is that what you're saying?
I meant like if they have the opportunity to die in season one, they're gonna
Yeah,
die in season one. Like
they're gonna die in season one. Well, that's not true. But,
if they
um,
have the opportunity. Like if they live to season two, they were always gonna live in every single person's playthrough. It's just how The Walking Dead
oh,
goes, or how Telltale kind of does it.
yeah, that makes sense.
So there's no way to save certain characters, no way to kill other characters. It's all kind of an illusion of choice, but it doesn't mean the game's not fun. You just,
Yeah,
it does take away a little bit of the specialness
yeah,
from it, that your decisions don't make a huge difference, but it does at least carry through to your character. I feel is the most important part. Is that's going to weigh on
your
their mind.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah, you're like, okay,
your
this is,
character's experience.
yep, the person I'm implanting and like imprinting onto Clementine or Lee, of what kind of person they are, and
Okay.
just the way people can die will kind of carry with you that way.
So what you're saying is like the characters aren't really essential to the story. It is your decisions on how you carry yourself through the story is what matters and what does carry on.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
agree with that. Whether like you want to be an evil person or not, it's
Okay.
yeah less about all the side characters.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And I feel like if Telltale did have I guess some inspiration from Mass Effect, it could be like the perfect like story game.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in a way, like I mean, it's not like it's not good because of that, but it could be better if it had elements like that to where it still carried like a whole. I couldn't imagine trying to be the one task to make a game like this, but like if you had the whole thing like that, I mean, Mass Effect did it, but I'm pretty sure Telltale is like way smaller, like a fraction of who
But
made
of BioWare,
Mass Effect? BioWare? Yeah.
yeah,
So
BioWare's a subsidiary of EA, so yeah,
oh exactly, yeah. So they got that
huge difference
money.
in financial budget.
Yeah.
And plus, they've had experience with Dragon Age before Mass Effect, so they know how to make RPGs and how to do decisions.
Yeah. Have you played a lot of Dragon Age?
I have. I've played through a bit of Inquisition, and I've played through the second one quite a few times.
Okay. Origins, is that the second one?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't played that one.
Okay. I think maybe Dragon Age Origins is the first one. Um, but yeah, I played a little bit of Inquisition, and I thought it was cool. I didn't know if it had any of the elements from Mass Effect at all
Oh, sorry, I
in
just got
terms
what
of
you
like.
meant. I played. It's just called Dragon Age 2, the second one.
Oh, okay. So there's Origins two, and then Inquisition.
Inquisition, yeah, and there's probably another couple.
Okay. Anyways, back to The Walking Dead.
One
Yeah.
of the.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say like these Telltale definitely has a skill set, built for storytelling.
Yep.
I don't know if they just have really good writers or whatever, but this game like really pulled at my heartstrings. It made me feel all kinds of different range of emotions as I'm playing it, and yeah, I was like sobbing at the end, and it's just yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
they
good, man.
definitely like. I could say all I want about like the engine, the illusion of choice, but like they have good fucking writers for the story, and they have amazing voice actors.
Oh, absolutely.
David Fennoy, or Dave Fennoy, I think his name is, that voices Lee. Phenomenal job, and same with like Melissa Hutchinson for Clementine. Both just amazing voice acting, and it really brings like soul to the character when it feels like the voice actor is actually conveying emotion into those roles as well.
absolutely. And it felt like I was watching a movie. I was playing a game, but I felt like I was really watching a movie or just watching a show because like I got really attached to these characters. Or, some of these characters, some of them I didn't care about, and yeah, I was able to like. I felt really passionate about my decisions, which I don't really do a whole lot of when I'm playing a game because
Hmm.
like when it comes up to making a decision, there is like a little bit of buildup before that decision. So like you kind of have some idea of what you want to do, but you don't have all you don't know what's going to happen. I think that's what puts the pressure on, and especially in those timed decisions. So you got some information, but you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if you played the game before, obviously you know what's going to happen. But
Yeah,
uh, like my first time playing through this, like it really felt like I feel like I carried a lot of weight throughout this,
yeah,
and like obviously because you're playing the main character, deciding who's deciding people's fate and stuff. But there were some times where I would think that my decision wouldn't affect a whole lot, but it actually did, and I think that's like where it's like I guess a plot twist. I don't know if you call that a plot twist, but like I felt like sometimes I made a decision where I would help out one person instead of the other. I'm like they look like they can get out of that on their own, right? And
yeah,
you help one, and then the other ends up dying. I'm like, and then it's like, oh, okay, so now really have to think about this when next time this happens, and then the next time it happens, you think about it and then you end up doing it and then nobody ends up dying. And so like it kind of just keeps you on your toes that way too, which I really like.
yeah, yeah. It really puts you into the character, and like you said, it's very much like a movie. Like I have a huge backlog of games, and I can't say there's many that I ever go to say like, hey, I want a game where I can just watch. Like I'm putting on Netflix and just occasionally click some things, and I enjoy it like a gaming experience more than just watching a movie.
Yeah.
It really blends interaction with all the story elements and cutscenes in a way that very few game series and game creators do. And that's probably one of the best things about Telltale is just being able to create this unique product that just kind of outshines anything else like in its genre
Yeah.
in the point and clicks.
Yeah, and that's really true because like there is a lot of games where I guess we're comparing it to As Dusk Falls, where it's all just decision making, like this or that,
You know,
But in this, you play as the character. You kind of do some investigating and stuff. You have to use your brain a little bit on actually trying to figure out stuff. I mean, I guess you kind of do that in As Dusk Falls too. I remember that because you could either go this way and check out this place. So
you know,
I guess in a way, but it did feel like more like a movie because it was just point and click. In this, you actually had to do like quick time events, button mashing, and all that stuff. It keeps you engaged.
yeah, yeah. You feel more lively in the environment, even though there's actually like very few sections of true interactivity. Like it's
Yeah.
usually just walk to the next cutscene type of thing, but it
Hmm.
doesn't really feel like that unless you step back and analyze it. It feels just very real and cohesive.
Yeah, it could be a case where you're controlling different characters. That's why I was like thinking uh, when I first got into this. I was thinking like, okay, it could be possible where it could like switch characters or whatever. But no,
Hmm.
you play as Lee throughout the entire first season at least, and I really like that because it keeps you like grounded in this character. Like this character, and you know how they work and stuff. I remember in Dusk Falls, you're playing as like two different characters throughout the story, and then it like switched to where you're only playing as one character. That I mean, who knows that you could have saved the first character or not, but I guess you could have, right? But I don't know how long you would have lasted, anyways.
Yeah, there was actually endings I think in As Dusk Falls where the dad survives.
Yeah, but I don't think you'd play as him anymore. Probably because like his story would end there. Like he would get to go home and stuff. Maybe.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. One of the other huge things that I love about this game is introducing community features. Like once your episode is done, it's like, okay, how did everyone else compare to you?
yeah.
Here's a whole bunch of major decisions you made in the game, and we're about to shame you if you were voting in
It,
the minority.
exact. Yeah. I really felt like polarized at some points. I was like, like how did these people not do this? I think it was
It's like only
for
29% chose this. What? That was
yeah.
correct. The correct decision,
I
obviously.
know.
Morally.
It kind of shows like I feel like the majority I was with a lot of other people.
Mm.
Um but there was some points where what I felt like was the right decision and I was like the minority in that situation, and I guess that shows how unique everyone's playthrough could be, because where you are the minority in this part, you'd be the majority in all these other parts, and that's what kind of steers your whole story in one direction.
Yeah, and like as Discrawls, even though the choices do are like as Discrawls, we're going to have slightly different playthroughs. You're going
Yeah.
to see things I didn't see, and vice versa. Even though it does all come back together to kind of make the choice moot, because the ending result's going to be the same. We might have
Mhm.
seen like different scenes to get there, and that
Yeah.
still holds with your character at least and makes it feel like impactful.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest fork in the road would be in episode 1, where you have the choice to save Duck or what's his face?
Sean,
Sean. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, this isn't like any spoilers, but like speaking of like the majority thing, well,
I
we'll get to that anyways.
I don't know if you can even really spoil this game because it's your choice, really, except for
It is.
the final person to die. But
Yeah.
that's another thing that I really liked is because Telltale takes these established franchises like The Walking Dead,
Yep.
they get to do cool things like they did to expand the lore. Because I don't know how far you get into the TV show, but like
Probably like season 6 or 7.
yeah, the actual like creators of the show. I think this is all like canon in that universe
Mhm.
because Sean doesn't show up in the show, but Herschel's in the show, and he doesn't have a son, probably because he died in this game. And then Glenn is in this game as well, and we get to see him before he leaves for Atlanta to meet up with the people in the show.
Yeah. I knew the comic book series was made before any of this, and I think that's what it was trying to keep accurate to, was the comic book by Robert Kirkman.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Um,
Like it
yeah,
being
so
side stories and not following Rick.
I mean, see, I don't know how old the comic book series is, but I know it's like super. It's I think that's where it spawned the show and these games from, is the comic book series.
Well, like you mentioned, we kind of get these free roam sections as well, where you get to either solve puzzles or kind of just chat with people and advance the objective. I feel like the game holds your hand a little too often, and then there's certain sections that do get confusing, that aren't even really puzzles, where they don't hold your hand at all. And so I'm just walking around a room looking for something to click for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
But it's very situational. It's hard to say what they could really like fix there. But I had times where, as we'll talk about, like at the motel inn, where I was looking for things and couldn't find anything to click on. It was just turns out it was a little thing on the ground somewhere. But there's also a lot of times where they constantly remind you of these very simple things to do. It's like, okay, I get it. I can figure it out.
yeah.
And the game kind of just goes back and forth whether or not to hold your hand.
I did get stuck a lot of times with that, because Yeah, there was a lot of times where I just couldn't see anything, and there was other times where like the answer wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
Some of them, I was able to get. Like some of them really seemed really intuitive. Like, oh, like when they're like having some sort of dialogue, I'm like, oh, I better talk to this person, see if they know something, or
Yep.
I should go look over here. And some of it does seem kind of intuitive, but like other times it's just like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what I'm doing.
Then you finally figure it out, and you're like, why would I have ever searched there?
Yeah, exactly.
They also have a lot of, like you mentioned, the button mashing stuff. There's some I really like in the game, like some of the interactable stuff, but there's
Hmm.
also other stuff where there's certain walker moments that you have to kill, and you have to sometimes kill or like chop or hit, bash, whatever, like 3 or 4 times. It's like, okay, I could have done with just pressing this once and you getting to it. Like there's several instances of that, like with the brother outside the pharmacy. I guess it's maybe trying to hammer home the intenseness of the situation. Like
Yeah.
the bear trap one, I understand later with the axe in like
Yep.
episode 2 or 3, and but there is some of them where I'm like, okay, I just keep hitting the zombie. Here's hit number 5 coming.
Yep. Exactly. And some points where it turns into like a first person shooter, or
Yeah,
shoot this zombie or stab this zombie, or not really. I mean, some parts actually have some, like, I guess, tactical value to it, to where you actually have to figure out how to do it correctly.
yep,
And then sometimes it's, yeah, like what you said, driving home the intensity of it.
yep. Yeah, there's a few of those sections where all of a sudden ammunition isn't a factor, and you
Yeah.
just keep shooting zombies till the sequence is over.
Yep. And yeah, I'm like wondering where they get all this ammunition from, and how many clips does, or how many bullets does this magazine hold?
Yeah, yeah, especially like at the RV motel thing when you're shooting the rifle at the end of that
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, it was just like bam, bam, bam. It turned into an action game there for a minute.
Yep. They're really exciting sequences. Like you
They are.
feel the rush of adrenaline. They have like the screen kind of closing in on you subtly, and like you're hurried. You're like, shit. There's decisions to make. There's people to shoot. So
Yep.
much going on. The game really does get like the best action moments and heartfelt story moments, like just all shoved into one big game that is amazing overall.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I have very few bad things to say about this game. I think it's mostly all technical, and then some walker models repeat pretty often, but I kind of forgive them as being a small studio at the time.
I actually didn't even notice that. I guess I wasn't paying attention to the zombies, but they actually had like repeated zombie models.
Yeah, there's a couple you'll see actually like 5 or 6 times throughout the game.
Oh, okay.
But if
Yeah,
you
this
ever
looks like the other
do,
zombie I killed.
if you ever do subsequent playthroughs, you'll really start to notice it.
Yeah. It is a game too. I can't imagine like trying to create like 1,000 different zombies for, just for the whole game.
That is true. Yeah, that's
I mean, look at every other zombie game. Some of them you'll see like two zombies that look, they're just twins, like walking right next to each other.
yep. The Despite the like repeating walker models, though, the graphics in this game, when the facial animations are acting right, like are
Yeah.
amazing. I don't know if you consider
Oh
this like
yeah.
cell shading or like hand drawn, but it's so timeless that like 11, 12 years later now, the game still looks great. Like it's
Oh
just
yeah.
one of those ageless graphics.
Yeah, and they're still making new games that look just like that too.
Yeah,
Like there's no really need, as long as you have a good art style. I don't see there's like a need for completely changing that whole method of storytelling, because the Wolf Among Us 2 is going to look just like how it did in 1
yep, which was like many years ago now.
many years ago, and we don't need Unreal Engine 5 for it. So
Yep. Yeah, and I really like it. It kind of adds to the comic bookness as well of The Walking Dead, which I think
hmm
fits really well here.
yeah.
And the controls as well throughout this game are so simple that it's like probably one of the easiest games to just pick up and play for anyone who hasn't, like played a game before.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It
very
just
easy to move a joystick and click on something.
yeah. And it doesn't always show you what button to press, but it usually does. And then it's also
Mm.
intuitive where you walk up to somebody and you have like a couple different choices on what to do. Like it just shows you kind of like a D-pad, and it's like, oh, it's either Y, A, B, or whatever to keep going.
Yep. There's so many times when I played through this that, or when I was playing through it again this time, where I'd instinctively click A every time to interact with an object. I'm
Oh,
like, fuck. That's, and like even after picking up like a new tool, and I would continue to like try the same thing again. I'm like, I didn't mean to use that one.
yeah,
I wish I would have like gray out or something if you try it. But yeah, it is very intuitive. Like, oh, I clicked on an item with hands and I couldn't open the door or whatever.
right.
Got to go find an item and click on it again with that item.
I know.
I still love the hell out of this game. Like even after this is my like sixth playthrough, I think, or seventh. Like I've played this game quite a few times through, and um, there's still like especially in this very first season, so many horror moments as well for
Yep.
such a lighthearted game, and like almost like Resident Evil esque moments where you're walking around a corner and it switches to like that top down view almost, or like a far view over the
Yep.
shoulder, and all of a sudden there's a walker there, and then the lights are flashing, and there's a button on the screen, music picks up, and
Yeah.
it feels so intense and like heart pounding. There's just a lot of really good moments like that throughout the game.
Yeah. And it's funny because sometimes it'll do that intentionally to keep you on your toes, because you'll just be told to go check the building or whatever, and then you open a door, there's a fucking walker in there, scares the shit out of you. So the next door you open, you're just like ready, like your character does it too, it's just ready at the um aiming
With
gun
his
at the
weapon.
door and everything.
Yep. Yeah, he starts to get more cautious through the game.
Yeah.
You start to see. Though the one thing Lee does not get more of throughout the game is tactile, or I guess like agile. He trips over fucking everything in this game.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I feel like this
especially
guy
at the beginning.
I feel like this guy's always on his ass.
Yeah, and yeah, it got to a point where I'm like, come on, don't trip right now, don't trip, don't trip. I was just saying that over and over because I'm like, please, just get out of here. And then he trips. I'm like, I knew it. Classic horror movie trope there.
Yep,
I've always
where
got to trip.
there'll be one hand that like reaches out and grabs you, and there you
Yep,
go, you're on the ground.
exactly.
They do the things with the Walking Dead show as well, where sometimes I'm yelling at my game as we're running away, like how can you be this stupid? How did you let yourself get cornered?
Yep, exactly. Like, get
Yep.
out of there. What are you doing? And they're just standing there like, oh, what they're everywhere. It's like, you just gotta act. Like, stop freaking out and act.
Yeah, just walk right past
Please.
them. They're
Yeah,
fucking
they're
slow.
so slow. They can lunge at you and you could dodge it with if even if you're like 80 years old and have a broken hip, like you could do it.
Yep. But of course, as in the Walking Dead, there are like sneaky zombies, like not intentionally, but like
Yeah. They
as
come
well.
up out of nowhere.
Talk about in later seasons. Like you never know where these things are going to be lying. They're like stuck on a street somewhere, and all of a sudden, oh, you got bit,
Yep.
and then that's it.
They come up out of nowhere.
It's very easy for your group to dwindle over like various situations, not always walkers.
Yeah. And it's yeah, it's unfortunate, but at least it gets creative throughout the game on like the ways people die and how they die, because it's not always by walkers; it is by people too, and yeah,
Yeah, there's quite a few variations throughout this game with your group of like other humans killing humans over beef and the normal stuff you'd seen in Apocalypse,
yep,
or accidents, stuff like that that
yep.
just weren't even walker or human related. Just you weren't paying attention enough to your environment. Now you're crippled in a world where that's not really conducive to survival.
Yeah, it reminds me of Project Zomboid, where you literally die over the stupidest things. It could be anything. In a world full of zombies, you could die because you decided to climb through a window and there was broken glass in that window. So now you're cut, and then you develop an infection. And you tried an infection, you put dirty bandages on it, so you catch a disease, and you die of disease because you jumped through a window. You know what I mean? Like it's just it. Yeah, you
Well,
gotta be extra careful in the apocalypse. Anything could happen.
it's so easy to die, and I think we take that for granted until we're in these like apocalyptic situations, and we realize, oh, it would be really nice to have like walking clinics and emergency rooms,
Yeah,
vaccines to get like our whatever shot so you don't get tetanus.
everything you
Um,
take for granted, like you don't have in this situation, and it will kill you.
yep, yeah, you get the flu and you can't go foraging for 3 days. Well, guess you might
Yeah,
starve to death.
yeah. Or you get bronchitis, and you don't have antibiotics to for a doctor to give you. And that's basically how you die there. Like
Yeah,
it's just like the lack of resources that we have in the apocalypse is what kills us. I mean, the art style is just great in this game. I don't know who did the art on this, but it is like reminiscent of the comic book. It almost looked like exactly the same. So I don't know if it was Robert Kirkland that drew all this, drew all the characters or whatever. But yeah, I really love the art style in this game.
me as well.
It's really simple.
Yeah, yeah. Which I think is probably one of the biggest reasons it still holds up, and you don't really have to remaster it, I guess,
Yeah,
per
yeah,
se.
exactly.
But yeah, if you'd like to take a break here, we can jump into episode one.
Yeah, that's all I got for generals. We will take a short break and we'll get right back.
Alrighty, stick around.
Maybe. We'll see how things shake out with this Herschel guy.
Good luck with that. He's a hard ass. Honey, Duck, this is Lee. And, what's the girl's name?
Clementine.
Clementine.
That is a very pretty name.
Thanks. Well, we should get to work. We've all seen what those things can do out there, so the faster we get this fence up, the better.
Welcome to a new day. So we start off the Walking Dead game with episode one. We're already in a cop car. Seems like things are intense right off the get go. We kind of pan around to our character Lee, who's in the back of the cop car in handcuffs.
Yeah, and this cop, thankfully, isn't really racist, but he's also like not really compassionate towards anybody in regarding to what he does, which is fine, I guess, because like it's I'm sure it's hard to find both sides of the story. All his job is to bring somebody in.
Yep. I like this guy. I didn't really get any like bad character tones or anything from him. I thought he was pretty fair to Lee, and he even thought he was innocent. I guess depending on your dialogue choices.
That's depending on your dialogue choices.
I don't know. I guess I haven't chosen all of them. I don't know if he will get mad at you. I'm just assuming from mine.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's like, "Well, I reckon you didn't do it."
I think that was sarcastic though.
I think he was genuine because he starts to explain himself.
Oh, yeah. Basically, when he says we're innocent, I basically replied sarcastically because, like, obviously he doesn't think I'm innocent. Otherwise, I wouldn't be back here. I get he's trying to do his job.
Yeah. We won't get to know this guy too long. We're kind of driving outside of Atlanta here. I don't know if prison is maybe outside of Atlanta or something like that, but it's kind of an ominous drive, and we see signs that there's some emergencies going on, like cop cars driving into Atlanta with their lights on, and um, we're just kind of bullshitting with the sheriff as we drive. And
Meanwhile, the cop has no idea what's going on. He tends to look away as like every time there's like other cops going by, and he turns off the radio
yep,
that has constant chatter on it.
that's not important.
Yeah, it happens all the time. You kind of have to tune it out, he says. And we end up hitting a humanoid walking across the highway and crash off into the woods. You had the option to be like, "Oh fuck," or "Look," or some shit like that, but it didn't really matter. We still hit it and we still crash.
Yep, veer off the road into a pretty steep fall out into the little forest there.
Yeah. Oh, it is important to mention that during this drive, they did talk about him killing his wife and
His wife's lover.
his wife's lover. I thought he
Yeah.
said he killed his wife.
No, killed the senator that was sleeping with his wife.
Ah, yes. So he's charged for murder for killing the senator that was sleeping with his wife, and he honestly kind of badmouths his our wife. Well, I told him to fuck off, but or fuck you, and then he. I was kind of mad about this because I put the option as fuck you, and he didn't even say it. He's like,
fuck it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The thing is, even though the officer here kind of thinks you're innocent, you kind of like play through the game to find out that like it's never really said one way or another explicitly. Like everyone knows you were convicted and found guilty,
yeah.
but he doesn't ever actually say like I did it. He just like talks about his past as like a generality.
Yeah. So it would have been nice to know the whole story about my character before I make the decision to lie about it or not.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess well, he does talk to Clementine at one point and says like I killed a man.
You also had the opportunity to lie to her too. I
Yeah.
I opted to not ever lie to her because in a world of uncertainty, you don't want somebody that's closest to you to be lying to you about who they
Yeah.
are.
So
I suppose
maybe
that's how I was.
yeah. Maybe Lee did kill the guy. Not like it
Maybe you did.
matters. Like Kenny will say if you tell the truth to him, it doesn't matter. It's in the past now. Now you're in an
Exactly.
apocalypse.
Yep.
But yeah, Lee, not that it really factors into any of the game, was a history professor at a college in Atlanta. So, but he's
Yeah.
pretty buff for a professor.
Yeah, he is. And yeah, for like being a professor and then being in the back of a cop car, it seems kind of contradictory in itself. So like you kind of give like you kind of get the vibe that he is a good person, but he just got caught doing the wrong thing, what he felt was right.
It's a
So
really interesting mix of that like tough male protagonist cliche plus he's probably I assume got his PhD to
yeah,
teach history at a college, and he's also a criminal for killing someone previous to the apocalypse. So you get like
yeah,
all these different like mixes of stereotypes like all into one character, and I feel like we
yep,
don't get as much of the like the brains from him throughout the game, but like
yeah,
you definitely see like the caring for children type of thing
yeah.
throughout the game.
Yeah, so crash into the woods that was nearby after hitting a humanoid, which is obviously a zombie because this is called The Walking
Yep.
Dead. Um, we hit a zombie and we crash off, and now the car is upside down, and there the cop is nowhere to be found, and we're stuck in the back seat with our hands cuffed.
Yeah, it's very obvious that it's many hours later, judging by like the sun and stuff. But for some reason, the sheriff just sat out there dead for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a couple hours because the
And
sun kind of dies down pretty quick. when it gets to sunset. So it could be like bright out one day and like, 45 minutes to an hour later, it could be dark.
That's
So,
true. It could have been 5 and then 6 p.m. It's already dark.
yeah.
So, yep. But yeah, we our legs a little fucked up, and there's a dead sheriff outside the car, and we kind of have to get our way out of the car. And once we try to get the keys from the sheriff, we get our first little heart pounding jump scare that this
Yeah.
game will like to do a lot, where
Yeah.
you kind of drop the keys as you get the cuffs off, and have to crawl back and get a shotgun and fucking fumble around with it, kill the guy.
This part felt like when I played this part, this felt like every other like Until Dawn game where it's like built in like a horror scene where things need to happen, but things can't happen because the character is all fucked up and panicked and stuff. So I was like getting that vibe throughout like this whole part. I'm like, this is gonna be one of those games where every time I need to do something, the character is gonna fuck up in some way, and I need to fix it through quick time events.
Yep. And that will be a consistent thing.
Yeah, it will be a consistent thing, but it kind of gets more, I guess, more intelligent throughout the whole game. I mean, this is one of those parts where it's just like, yeah, he's panicked, but
Yeah, like
yeah,
what would you think if
it's
you
kind of
saw
understandable.
a zombie?
Yeah, if it
Before
was
zombie culture was big.
yeah, exactly. If I like my first ever zombie walking towards me, I'd be freaking out too. But us being in our age in day of time where we have so much zombie media, I'm like, oh god, that's a zombie. I know what to do. I gotta shoot in the head. But then again, like, okay, I could ramble off right now, but like, what will we actually do in a zombie apocalypse? Because like, what if these zombies are like kind of like cordyceps from
Oh, Last of Us.
The Last of Us? It's like we
Yeah.
don't know if the shooting it in the head would kill it. It could be just like a whole embodiment of like another being in itself that each could be weird. Could be aliens. Who knows?
Yep. So of course we throw the shotgun away right away because never need that again in a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
Though it only had one shell, conveniently.
One shell. That was very convenient. One shell on the left and the shotgun on the
right next to it.
and you had to grab both before loading it, shooting the zombie
Yep.
walking towards us.
Of course, since we fire, zombies immediately start pouring in around us,
Yep.
all over in the forest.
Called in the
But,
cavalry.
The apocalypse started very quickly.
Yeah.
That's also why I'm thinking it might be a couple hours, just because, geez, the spread was just insane.
Yeah.
I suppose that kind of happens in a big city like Atlanta. Chaos just happens so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we quickly hobble away, and we manage to just barely escape the horde and hop into a fence into a yard with a little treehouse.
Yeah.
Containing our future friend.
Yeah, and then the vibe is all of a sudden totally different too, because like it's all bright and calm over here. Well, meanwhile, it was like all dark and stuff with all the shaded
Yeah.
trees and stuff.
It's a very good divide that like immediately makes you feel safe as soon as you cross the fence.
Yeah, exactly. And that was exactly the case because none of the zombies could get over the fence or whatever because they're just banging on the fence. And
Yep.
so like what you were saying before, like it was not that long after we crashed because the sun is still up and there is still like light shining in this yard. So it was just the trees that was making it seem like it was dark, which is like I guess good cinematography. I guess it's a game, but like I think that's cool.
Yeah. Yep. Good set design, I guess.
Yeah, set design. There you go.
Yep. But yeah, we enter the house through the sliding glass door and fucking slip on the blood here if you go into the kitchen, which will be another thing in a bit. But yeah, we find a radio in a drawer here.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we listen to the answering machine, we kind of hear from Clementine's parents that things don't really work out that well. At least that's what it sounds, because her mom basically they did AF because her mom basically gives her a goodbye message, saying that I love you and stuff and all that.
Yep.
So like it's really sad, and it's something that just like after hearing that and seeing Clementine, you just want to protect her from hearing that. You know what I mean? You just don't want her to know that her parents are dead. And I
Yeah,
think
I didn't ever tell her
I
that her
didn't.
parents are dead.
Yeah, I tried my best to avoid that situation. I was like, yeah, let's not do that. Let's try to get her mind off of it, I guess. But then it gets
Yep.
to a point where she's like getting demanding, which is understandable. I can't imagine being in that situation.
Yeah, being an 8-year-old and probably not used to being away from your parents for long, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
they're just gone.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it gets to that point. I think I never played season 2 or 3, but I'm sure she eventually realizes.
So yeah, as soon as we start talking to Clementine on the radio, we get ambushed by a babysitter zombie behind us.
Babysitter zombie. What's her name? Sandra or something?
Yeah, you can kind of like shove her away, and this is of course when you try and get away, you still don't know what the fuck's going on. You slip on the
Yeah.
pool of blood in the kitchen again and bonk your head.
Yep. Yeah, you have to go for the hammer that's like next to the door by Clementine and
Yeah,
all that.
Clementine comes to her rescue, and she opens the door and gives us a hammer.
Yep. So
So
they were
you
able
two,
to dispatch that zombie, talk to Clementine, and we have a decision to where this is our first like major like I guess butterfly effect decision. Should we wait to go look for help, or should we stay here until after dark? I opted to go for while it's still light outside because that seems like the logical thing to do. I don't know
Yep,
what you did.
I did as well. Yep.
Yeah, so we're agreeing on that. That was like the logical thing to do. We go out and look for help, where we find two guys like trying to push a car outside Clementine's house. Or
Yep.
trying to get back home.
Yeah, this is Chet and Sean. Sean, we mentioned earlier, is the son of Herschel Green from the show. Since we helped these two guys out, they offer to give us a ride back to their farm.
We had to help them move the car. Yeah, so and then they offered to take us back to the farm, and this is where Herschel's farm is.
Yeah.
So we were talking about this earlier. It could be this is based off of the comic book. So Herschel is at the farm where his son Sean is still alive. Where in the show, his son Sean is not alive. So it could be some speculation that the show takes place after all this, after the comic books or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Herschel, as he's a veterinarian, kind of patches our leg up a bit from our injury, and we get to stay in the barn for the night. Yeah, in the morning we get to walk around and chat with people, and this is where we meet arguably one of the best characters in the game, Kenny and his family, Katja and Duck, and we get to walk around and meet Sean, who is patching up the fence, convinced his dad that the walker problem is serious enough to build the worst fence I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was bad. I get they were trying to repair it, but like there's like a door in there and it's like plywood and there's like haphazardly placed 2x4s just posted up everywhere. They're constantly repairing it looks like. So
Yeah, he's just fucking putting any pieces of wood he can all over the fence,
yeah,
and it just looks like crap. And it doesn't even help because this motherfucker gets grabbed through the fence.
gets grabbed through the fence. So it sounds like they need to have a higher fence. So the height of their fence did not matter with all the doors they put in and everything.
Yep.
And all the metal and all that stuff didn't even matter because it's a really low fence. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but yeah, he gets grabbed and the tractor gets like rolled on top of him. So here's where we're faced with a choice to save Sean or Duck.
So I just want to say as well, I know Duck's not the brightest kid. But did Sean also not hear these walkers coming through the field?
Yeah, they make noises, man. They make a lot of noises, and it's a flat fucking field. You'd be able to see them like fucking a mile away.
It's just Darwin awards all around in this world sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that. It's kind of like a far fetched like how bad could the situation get when they're writing this. Yeah, so they come in from the open field, which they I don't know how nobody saw them from afar, which I feel like you could have. So both of them are grabbed, and you're faced with the choice of saving Duck or Sean.
Who'd you go with here?
I later found out that both of them would be saved if you just saved Sean, but I ended up saving Duck because he was a kid,
Uh,
and
actually,
yeah,
not true. Sean dies no matter what.
Sean dies no matter what. Oh
You,
God.
you won't be able to get the tractor off him. I chose Sean for this playthrough, just because I know Duck survived no matter what. But yeah, Sean, you still can't get it over, and the defense breaks, and walkers get him.
Damn, dude. So
But Herschel's just more happy with you. But
you
it doesn't
still
really.
end up leaving?
Yeah, he's like, I appreciate what you did, but I still want you to get the hell out of here.
That makes sense.
So, like I
He
said,
was
like
really pissed with me. He was like, "You didn't even try you didn't even try to save him." He was like, "Get the fuck out of my face!" And it's like, "Okay, all right, I'm leaving."
two choices that lead to the same outcome.
Damn, that sucks.
But
Okay, well,
at least with Duck, Kenny's more happy with you.
yeah,
So
yeah. I was in good with Kenny for a lot of this season. So I mean,
yeah,
Kenny's a good guy.
depending what kind of character you want to play too, like it does come back occasionally as like dialogue references about Sean when you're talking to Kenny later. But it's like, hey, well, Kenny's going to be around for the rest of the game compared to you're not going to see Herschel again, anyways.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, either way, Kenny still offers us a ride to come with him as far as we want to go. Well, us and Clem. And we arrive in Macon, which is Lee's hometown, because they need to stop for gas. And as it turns out, they're still not used to the apocalypse, or at least Kenny isn't. We don't know how many experiences they had with walkers, but
yeah.
um, he starts yelling out to random bodies he sees, and we are quickly surrounded as they turn out to all be zombies.
Yeah, it turns out to be worse than Macon. It's weird how it's worse in a town than it is in a farmhouse. So uh, I don't know what they were. I think they thought that they wanted to go to Macon because that was where they were headed anyways. I forget how that goes.
I think that's where Lee wanted to head, and then once he dropped off Lee there, he was going to head towards the coast. It was just on the
Oh,
way,
that's
but
right.
obviously we don't make it outside of Macon for a little
Yeah.
while.
So we get surrounded by zombies, and there was this lady in in uh, in a suit, kind of like a lady suit. What do you call that? She's been formal dressed attire with a gun. Okay, and she shoots at the zombies, and helps us get into a drugstore that's nearby. And we all run in there, and there's like a gate that closes that we're able to close and put a lock on
Yep.
it as we're able to lock the zombies out as we're in the drugstore. So this is the point where we're able to talk to the people that were already staying there.
Yeah, we're going to meet quite the new crew of people that we will slowly dwindle down through.
Yeah, as The
Some
Walking Dead goes.
less slowly than others.
Yeah,
But we find out Carly is the one who's the crack shot because she's a reporter. She's good at shooting. Get it?
yeah, shooting. Yeah,
Shooting film, shooting guns.
I suppose.
It's never
Yeah,
really explained, but
I don't know why she's a
she's a
journalist,
crack
but
shot.
she's a really good shot. So, and she has a gun.
Then there's Doug, who's a just a nerd. We got Lily and Larry, who are a father and daughter, and then
Yep.
Glenn from the show.
Yeah, Glenn from the show. We all know Glenn.
Yeah, and I think Stephen Yeun did the voice for this character as well.
Did he? That'd be cool if he did.
I didn't get to look it up, but it at least kind of sounded similar to him.
Yeah, I did.
So, but yeah, we kind of get to chat with everyone, and there's this whole fiasco because Larry, who's a hothead consistently, thinks Duck is bitten because of us being surrounded out there. We kind of argue over that a bit, and I almost deck Larry in my case.
Yeah, I
And
was pissed at Larry. There's no way to treat somebody like that. Like Larry's just an asshole.
yeah,
I don't know what your opinion is of him is. Like I was not compassionate towards him, like at all.
he's the kind of guy that I wish had just one redeeming factor. So I'm like, can I at least forgive you a little bit for your actions?
I was I was really looking for that too. I'm like, please give me a reason to not drop you right now. Like, dude, you were such an asshole.
He cares a lot for his daughter,
He
and it's
does,
respectable.
obviously.
But
Yeah,
he cares for no one else,
he
like
cares.
even the
No,
slightest bit.
he doesn't give a jack shit about anybody else, and I think that's like his worst quality. Like, yeah, you should give a shit about your daughter, but like you can at least give a shit about everybody else
Yeah,
because they're human lives. I mean, come on, man.
but yeah, we kind of get interrupted of our argument by Clementine being attacked by a walker that came from the bathroom.
Yeah, because she needed to pee.
Yeah, I guess these guys didn't case the building well enough when they've been living in there. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
was like, yeah, because she was looking. She was like, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm like, hold on a second, and we're still arguing and stuff, and then she just went on her own to go into the bathroom, and there was a walker in there. I'm like, I told you not to go, but I needed. I understand she needed to pee, but moments before that, she said there was somebody in there, and I'm like, please do not open the door if there's somebody in there. And that's what she did. She opened the door, and then she gets attacked by a walker, and then all hell breaks loose for a moment.
yeah,
Lee trips again, as always, on her way to save her, and we struggle with this zombie, and what's her name?
Carly takes it out again.
Carly
Yeah,
takes it out. Yeah,
she's a badass. I love Carly.
yeah, she is.
Um, so we don't get any relaxation after this quick tense moment because Larry quickly like his heart seizes up because he needs his nitroglycerin pills,
Yep.
which is why they've been hiding out in a pharmacy. They just haven't been able to get into the actual storeroom because it's locked.
Yeah.
So, well, Glenn wants to go get gas. There's like so much shit just happening at once. You're meeting all these people. Everyone's trying to do all their own things. Glenn says he wants to go get more gas at the motor inn, so he takes a radio and heads over there. We later get a call from Glenn as well while we're around the clinic that Glenn needs help. That's where we have to go over there.
Yeah, and that's where we kind of make a decision. We were like, do we get the nitroglycerin first? I don't know if you have to do one or the other first, or
I can't remember if you have a choice. I know I went to the motel for Glenn first, though.
oh, okay, yeah, that's what I did too. I remember that now because you kind of had to because something you needed from you got something from the motel inn that allowed you to actually get the keys to get into the pharmacy
Yep.
after that. So yeah, there wasn't really much of a choice there, but in this whole thing, you're able to go around and talk to people and go look for stuff. Claire, why do I keep forgetting her name? Claire,
Carly?
Carly. Jeez, Carly is messing with the radio, so you can go and find some batteries for her. I think they're stashed somewhere around the shop.
This is one of the dumbest character moments of her not knowing what way batteries go in.
Yeah, it's oh man, I
I,
couldn't
I,
believe that.
I get they're trying to inspire some humor, and she's probably pretty stressed, but it's just stupid.
Yeah, it's like this radio isn't working, and then he picks it up. Oh, there's no batteries in it. Oh, yeah, I knew that. It's like whatever.
Yep, classic main character has to do everything syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we go into the back room to find out that the the pharmacy is locked before we, and then we get this whole interaction with Clementine, talking to her about family and stuff, and I tried to be as gentle with her as possible. And she was asking about Lee's family, and I told her like like I don't know where they are, and it was a good interaction. This is like where Lee and Clementine really get to know each other, and yeah, this is a really good moment in the game.
Yeah, so we do eventually have to dip out by the motor inn to help Glenn out.
Yep.
He says he's in trouble, but he's not really. Either way, we help him there, and there's a girl that's kind of trapped in a motel room by zombies. So you get to do this cool killing puzzle of killing zombies in the right order and getting your
Yep.
tools. But once we save this girl, turns out she's bit. So we get our kind of first glimpse into what happens when you get bit in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who haven't watched the movies or played the games before, you also turn into a zombie.
Yeah. So you turn into a zombie if you get bit, and it turns into a somber moment because she just wants she doesn't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah, she just wants
So
to end her life so she doesn't turn.
yeah, so I mean, I guess you have a choice to either leave her to turn into a zombie, or take care of it yourselves, or you could either.
Did you give her the gun?
I gave her the gun
That's what
because
I
I
did as
didn't
well.
really see like if you I don't know. I guess it's if we're gonna get philosophical, like if you're gonna want the agency to have something like this, at least it be on your own terms, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know. It doesn't seem right to like shoot her in the head like that. Like I don't know.
yeah. You can choose to try and leave her as well, but then she wrestles Carly's gun out of her hands and shoots herself anyways.
Yeah,
So it's a lot less traumatic if you just give her the gun.
exactly.
But yeah, we that kind of ends our area of the motel inn or the motor inn, and we kind of head back to the pharmacy with Glenn and sneak back in. We do some weird puzzling outside as well with Doug to get the keys with what turns out to be our brother, who is a pharmacy tech that had the keys because this
Yeah,
is Everett's prescription store, which is our parents' store.
we don't tell anybody that though because we don't trust any of these people, and we don't want them to know that we were related to this used to be our parents' shop or something.
Yep.
Yeah, which was I guess understandable, but Lee as a character, that this is where it's one of those things where it's like you got to play as Lee, but you can't play as like you play as your version of Lee, but you still have to be Lee. So Lee as a character doesn't want anybody else to know who his parents were, who his family was. So you didn't really have a choice to reveal that to anybody, which is understandable, I guess. But that gives you like, it was one of those things where it's like you don't play the character as yourself. You play as a different character, I guess, which is like common amongst most RPGs. But I always think it's interesting in that aspect. You
Yeah.
don't always have the agency to do what you want.
Yeah. It's a choice game, but there's certain things that are kind of prescribed onto your character.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lee is definitely a family man, although kind of ashamed of how he departed from the family.
Yeah. That could have been from that shame too. Like he doesn't want to associate himself with his family. He doesn't want some people asking questions about like, you know, how did they go? Why haven't you seen them for so long and all that stuff. So in that sense, it kind of like adds more depth to his character.
Yep, I agree. So once we get the keys off of our brother, we get in back into the drug room in the pharmacy. And of course, as soon as we enter, I don't know why this is a thing, but because even though we had the keys, the alarm goes off as soon as we enter.
Of course. That was so stupid, man. Like, yeah, and then all hell breaks loose, man. This is it.
There had to be
It's
something.
crazy at this point. Yeah, there always has to be something to make the like classic Walking Dead moment where one place where you feel like you're safe gets overridden with zombies and you have to move to another place.
Yeah, so we're kind of all running out to Kenny's truck trying to get out of here because now we have gas from the motor inn and we got the nitroglycerin pills. So the whole place is kind of being swarmed. But on our exit, we have to make another choice between two people, either saving Doug or Carly because they both kind of get grabbed at the same time.
Yeah.
I went with Carly here just because I think she's a better written character.
Okay. I ended up going with Doug only because he looked like he needed more help than Carly because Carly looked like she just had her leg grabbed. I'm like, okay, she can probably get out of that. I'm going to go help Doug because he has 2 zombies on him. That was like my whole logic behind that. So I ended up going with Doug. So I suppose there's like a clear difference between what happens from then on between the both of us, right?
I would say so. Yeah, there's some differences.
Okay.
But yeah, either way, which one you save, the other one perishes by the zombies. So we kind of take the one that lives and escapes. But as we're leaving, fucking Larry, racist asshole, or he denies that he's a racist, but
he's a fucking asshole.
Steps back in. He's like, "No, not you. You're not coming
with us. You son of a
fucking
bitch."
Knocks us out.
Yeah, knocks us out, and we're knocked out on the ground. And Kenny ends up coming back to save us. So
yeah,
kudos to Kenny.
This motherfucker never faces repercussions for that.
No, he doesn't, dude. As soon as we got back to the motor inn in episode 2, I'm like, where the fuck is Larry? I got a word to speak with him, and I was hoping I could fucking punch him in the face or some shit, like actually have like a like a moment. But no, nothing about that comes up, and I was pissed, dude. Like, how can you do that to somebody and then like hang around with them? I guess that's how Lee is. Maybe he just forgave him right away. Like, okay, I guess I understand. Maybe he deals with guilt or something. But fuck, man, I was pissed.
I mean, we do get a time jump in episode 2, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they beefed it out, but we do also get some comeuppance in Larry in episode 2.
Yeah, episode 2 is like the main thing. It's like, fuck.
Kenny is the best friend you could ever ask for. He comes back and saves our ass, and we take our whole group and head over to the motor inn, and it's just as things are like starting to look hopeful, and everyone's like, yeah, I think this place would work. We could fortify this. And the power goes out.
The power goes out right at the end of the episode, and then it's like, okay, well, yeah, then we have to deal with that. Yeah, we don't know. I mean, they figured shit out by the time episode 2 comes around.
Yeah, yep. Because we get our recap as we spoke of in the generalities, and then we kind of get a 3-month time jump from the end of episode 1 to our current time. We have a couple new members in our group too. Mark is our new addition to the group, and he's, I think, next to Kenny, probably like my other favorite character in the game. Probably right under Kenny is like a side character, but he's so short lived in this game. I love him so much. He's like such a bro to Lee.
Yeah.
Throughout the time, and he doesn't get what comes to him. It's apocalypse ain't fair.
It's not, man. It sucks so much. We start out this opening scene with us walking with him. It takes place 3 months later after episode 1, and we're walking through the woods. It's like autumn, and it looks like we're hunting for wabbits or whatever we can eat, I guess.
Pretty much.
He has a rifle, and Lee has an axe, and we're just walking through the woods talking about how the past 3 months went by and all that stuff. Talked about Larry and how he's such an asshole. And
Yeah, we as we were hunting, we kind of run across some college students and their coach who are in need of help. The coach is stuck in a bear trap, so we do the logical thing as he keeps fucking screaming and bringing walkers. We cut his leg off to get him
you
out of the
had
bear trap.
the I think you had the option to leave him though, right?
You did, yes. Sorry, I chose to cut his leg off.
Yeah, I did too. It seemed like the best thing to do in that situation because, like, we don't. I mean, Mark was like, we can't leave him, and you know, you kind of had to make that decision. Is like, do you want to, you know, get your best chance of saving this guy, or do you just want to cut ties and run? And I was no bitch, so I'm like, I'm gonna cut his leg off.
I don't know. I've seen The Walking Dead. I didn't even need to try the bear trap. I was going straight to cut his leg off.
Exactly. Oh fuck.
Oh, there's a release on bear traps normally? Oh, I was
Yeah.
just going straight for the leg.
There was a lease. I don't even know if there was. I don't think there was because I think we checked and there was like
No,
there's
there
no way of
isn't
opening it.
on this one, but I'm like, I'm not even checking. I'm just going straight for the leg.
Why do they make bear traps with no release on them? How do they take it off after they kill the bear?
This is it's not like explicitly said, but it's thought to be this raider camp that we run into later that did this.
Okay.
So they didn't want things to release.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, we as we escape, one of the college kids gets eaten because he's a fucking idiot.
Yep.
People just don't watch out behind them.
Dude, I swear, this happens all the time, dude. He was standing there. I'm like, how do you forget about all the zombies that were walking towards you? And then he stands there. He's like, "Oh, what do I do?" And then he trips behind himself, and he's still laying there, backs up to a rock, and then gets mauled alive. I'm like, this is so fucking Walking Dead, bro. This is so canon.
Yep. So we grabbed the newly amputated teacher and the other student, who we'll find out is Ben, and we bring him back. Since Katja, Kenny's wife, was also a vet, she tries to help him out and stitch him up.
Why do we only have vets in this universe? Why do we never have a doctor? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if we had an actual doctor, none of this shit would be going on. Well, okay, I guess we can't say that none of this shit would be going on because they wouldn't have any of the resources that they would in a hospital. So it'd probably be more realistic. Be like, yeah, no, there's nothing we could do to save him, and it'd be more like that, I guess, instead of like, oh, we'll do what we can to save him with my veterinarian skills. You know, stop the bleeding, and then, you know, try your best.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm sure most medical personnel haven't had this kind of experience either.
That's true. Yeah,
So
the zombie
she's
virus.
as good as any about tourniqueting it up and trying to stop the bleeding.
That's true. I suppose maybe there wouldn't be too much of a difference, but I just find it weird how there's no doctors and they're all veterinarians. Like,
Yeah. Larry and Lily bitch at us a little bit, as usual. Larry will bitch about everything because they're like, "Why are you bringing in new people? We don't have enough food."
yeah, Lily was right with him. They're like, wow, we can't do any of this. We don't have any food. And then, you know, you have like what, a pack of crackers and cheese and like half an apple and all that. You got to feed 10 people, but you only can feed what, six
Four.
of them? Four of them?
Yeah, Lily's like,
Jeez.
"Fuck it, I'm tired of being the bad guy." So she gives you the food to ration out for the day. And yeah, you get a jerky stick, half an apple, and 2 cracker and cheeses.
Yeah, I made sure all the kids were fed, and
Yep, that's what I did too.
so
Straight for the
that's
kids, and then Mark got the
yeah.
jerky.
I didn't give Mark any food, but I did give I okay. I guess I'm not really too proud of this, but I did give Lily some food, even though she was like being not cool or anything. Most other people that I talked to denied the food, and I definitely wasn't going to give it to Larry, so I gave it to Lily.
It's really funny if you give it to Mark though, because Larry will see it since they're both working on the fence.
Yeah.
He will bit your ear off.
Oh, fuck that guy, man. I was like, my first thought was like, all right, well, Larry isn't getting any food. He left me to die.
Yep, should be friends with the food people, man.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't give any food to Mark, but it didn't seem like I had any repercussions for not giving him any food.
No, that's what I mean. Like Mark's a bro, no matter how you act in this game, and he's
Yeah.
a guy.
He just kind of looked at me like, whatever. I didn't get any food. And then he just kind of went back to fixing the fence. So he was cool about it, I guess. He
Yeah,
understood.
he understands. But yeah, Katja fails to save the guy because he's been bleeding out for who knows how long that we've drug him back here. At this point, we don't know yet that you also turn if you die under any circumstances, as long as your brain is intact. And the guy in the back of the truck turns, the one that lost his leg.
Yep.
We kill him, and this is when Ben kind of reveals that new information to us, and everyone pretty much freaks out.
Yeah. When this happens, it was kind of a unique interaction because it was in the middle of you like responding to what Katja said, and it was like a weird angle. So it was like facing towards her. And
Yeah.
then while you were about to say something, that's when the zombie popped up and grabbed her. And that's when you had to like react. It turned into quickly turned from dialogue to quick time event. That was like the only time I remember in this season that something like that happened. So
Yeah, I really like the way they do some of those horror elements.
yeah, you ended up having to take out that
Zombie.
zombie guy, and that's when Ben reveals it. Yeah, that's when those two guys from the dairy farm start walking by, and the everybody is like, "Oh, calm down, everybody, stay quiet." And it was,
Yeah, Andy and Danny, two creepy looking dudes,
mhm.
kind of approach our area, and they want to exchange gas for food. They said they have plenty of food, but they want our gas in order to run their farm. So
Yeah,
we agree to go check out their farm. A small group of us go over there and just make sure it's safe. And then Ben and Carly head back to the rest of our group to go grab them because we're going to go have dinner at the farm.
yeah. But for me, it was Ben and Doug that went back.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
But I mean, nothing to apologize for. It's just like that's what I'm saying. Like that's how it
Yeah.
was for me.
It's just you changing one name for another.
Yeah. So whoever you saved back at the drugstore is going back with Ben to the motor inn. We'll just put it that way, I guess.
Yep. So Mark and Lee are kind of helping out doing chores, and one of the chores around the farm is pushing dead walker corpse off the electric fence.
Yep. Before all that, you get to talk to the lady at the farm,
Yeah.
lady that's working inside. What was her name again? Do you remember?
Brenda?
Brenda. Okay. Yeah. So you talk to Brenda like at the door and stuff, and this was an interesting part because I talked to her, and the way she responded to some of the questions I asked. You know, Courtney was watching like most of my playthrough throughout this. Actually, she watched my whole playthrough, but she was in the bathroom when I was talking to Brenda. She comes back down after I talked to Brenda. I'm like, these people are cannibals. And then she's
You
like, you
believed
think
it
they're
that fast?
cannibals? I'm like, they're so nice though. I'm like, no, they're cannibals.
Exactly.
and like I just had the suspicion that like the way they were talking about all the people that worked at this farm before and all this stuff, I'm like, this is the like that doesn't sound right. Like how all of them died or whatever the case, they just all moved on from this farm that you know really got secured and everything. They just all left. I'm like, I don't believe that for a second.
See, Apocalypse, there's only so many ways you can go with it. Either they're raiders, they're gonna like sex traffic you, or they're gonna fucking eat you.
Exactly. So I'm like, these people are cannibals. I kind of like I half believe that. I didn't really fully believe that, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure something's wrong with these people, and I'm pretty sure they're cannibals.
Yeah, the evidence piles up fast for it.
It does. And so yeah, like you said, Lee and Mark get assigned an assignment to go check the fences because they have electrical fences all around this farm, and
Mhm.
some of them were down. They have like walkers on top of them. So Lee and
And Mark.
what Mark, Mark. All right,
Mark. Oh,
Lee and
hi,
Mark
Mark.
were assigned to. Oh, hi, Mark. I love that movie. If you haven't seen the the disastrous masterpiece or something, what was it called?
The Room was the original where the meme came
The
from.
Room is the original, but
The
there's one with
Disaster Artist is the new
the
one.
Disaster Artist with the one with James Franco playing as what's his face? What Tommy Wiseau?
Yeah.
It's great. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Anyways, yeah, back to the
Yeah.
story. We were
We end up having to go outside the fence. And of course, as soon as we leave the fence, one of the fucking St. John brothers turns the electricity back on. And then
very suspicious.
I don't know how he sees us from across the farm either, that we're outside it, but whatever. We get attacked by bandits, of course, while we're outside the fence, and Mark takes an arrow to the shoulder, and we have to kind of push this tractor to get away, and we do manage to get back inside the fence and get back to the building where Brenda said she'd patch him up.
Yep. Yeah. So Mark gets taken upstairs to get taken care of by Brenda, and that's when now we're just waiting on the rest of the crew to arrive to
Have dinner.
have this great dinner, which they are so excited to have with us.
Dude,
And
I even get hungry thinking about it. Those biscuits look good.
yeah, man, they got biscuits, they got meat, they got a lot of meat. Uh,
Yeah.
but they were just really excited to have us at this dinner,
The
and
rest of the
it's
crew
also kind of suspicious.
does arrive, minus Ben and the drugstore survivor, because
Yeah.
they ate a whole bunch of rolls on the way back to get to the rest of the group. So that's the convenient plot point of why they stayed back at the motor inn.
Yeah,
It's okay. It comes in handy later.
it does. Um, yeah, you get to talk to people around the farm, get caught up in stuff, but then that's when
Danny, I don't know why Lee agrees to this, but Danny wants to go and take revenge on the Raiders for shooting Mark. And they just immediately they're like, okay, let's go to a camp, just me and you.
yeah, I was also suspicious. Yeah, I get Lee as a character was not really suspicious of these people, but I was really suspicious of these people, and I didn't think that this was a really good idea at all. So I was really hoping for an option to just not do it, like veto that shit, but you ended up
Nope.
going.
Yeah, Danny brings us to what he says is their camp, but we know he's lying.
Yeah,
He's not a good liar, but Lee believes him. So it's this crazed woman named Jolene. It's her camp, and she's kind of whacked out. She, for some reason, had Clementine's hat, and
she was accusing these dairy farmers of every terrible thing that happened to them, which
yep,
adds more to the suspicion.
and she
Uh,
was gonna reveal something important to us, and Danny, of course, shoots her in the face.
yeah. Oh, she was crazy. Anyway, oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, she did have a gun on us, but
she did. It was a crossbow, but
yeah.
yeah. Um, Another thing that was also adding suspicion to this, when you're looking around the camp, looking for any evidence of bandits, I
Mhm.
guess you find this camera.
Yeah. And Danny gets so worried until you tell him that it's dead.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't. He kind of plays it off as not worried. So he's like, "Hey, let me look at that," and then he's like, "It's broken. It doesn't work." And he's like, "Oh, good." I'm like, "Oh no, what was on that? I really need to
Batteries
know."
on there.
The whole time we were at the dairy farm, I'm like, I gotta find some batteries, man. I gotta know what's on that camera, man. He's like, oh, good. It was like the most suspicious you could get at that point about. I don't know. It's like it's one of those things where you're watching all this shit happen, but you know what's going on, but you can't tell the character because character doesn't believe shit. you're playing as the character. It just turns into some, you know,
Yeah.
dissonance at that point. But
Well, the good thing is Kenny doesn't fucking trust anyone.
exactly.
And this guy's let's investigate this weird door in the barn.
Yeah. He said, "Don't go back here." And Kenny's like, "Yeah, let's go back here because I don't trust these people." And I'm like, "I agree. Let's check this shit out."
Yeah. You could do this whole puzzle of distracting one of them, and we kind of get into the room just as everyone gets called into dinner. So we're kind of out there in the barn alone, and we get to see that there's a whole bunch of blood everywhere.
Yeah. I when we opened this, when I opened this door up and I saw like the butcher room or whatever, I'm like,
Yeah.
I told you, man, these people are cannibals, man. And then what's his name? It's either Danny. What's the other one's name? It wasn't
Danny and
Danny.
Andy.
Andy.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
Andy walks in and tells us like, yeah, that's our room where we butcher the meat from our hunts. And I'm
Where we
like,
kill things that aren't human.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, that kind of
Except,
makes sense. Maybe I'm overstepping my suspicions. I'm like,
yeah,
okay. So I believed him in that second. All right. So he got me at that point. And then so after that we go inside and we're at dinner and ask where Mark is and Brenda says that he's upstairs sleeping it off and I'm like, all
yep.
right, I'm gonna go check on him.
I'm gonna
I mean, that's
go
what
to the
Lee.
bathroom.
Yeah, I have to go to the bathroom. That's what he said. I'm like, the thing is, my first instance was like when I walked in, I'm like, "Where's Mark? I need to find where Mark is." And then Lee is like, I want to go see the bathroom. I'm like, I'm gonna go check on Mark before I even like knew what the option was to go check on Mark. And I think that was like intuitive to like the story. It's like you want to go check on Mark.
Yes.
And
didn't need a pop up for that.
Yeah, did not need any explanation for that. So
this motherfucker was in a hidden room with his legs cut off.
Yeah, with his legs cut off. And yeah, he had to do some things revealing through this closet. Every door I opened, I was like, oh my god, he's in the closet, isn't he? He's like all strung up and stuff. I was like expecting the worst. I open a closet and there's like a little hole at the bottom, like where you plug in the wire and the light reveals from it. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a secret room.
It's even worse. They were keeping him alive so his meat would remain fresh.
Yeah, because in that closet, we were finding a bunch of morphine and all that medical supplies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they were keeping him alive by painkillers. So he wasn't feeling anything, but he was also like, they were also slowing down the bleeding. So he wasn't like bleeding out.
Turns out that wonderful dinner we're having is Mark.
Yeah, is Mark.
So we
oh man,
quickly have to rush downstairs, like a scene to where we I can't remember if it's an option of like slapping the meat out of Clementine's hands, but you can like scream at her, "Don't eat that!"
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I actually didn't do it in time. So she was already eating it when she like actually spit it out. So I'm assuming you did it in time, right?
Yeah, no, she didn't eat any for me.
She didn't eat any for you, but she was actually eating it. And when I said it, because like I was like looking at all my options. I'm like, well, what do I do? I don't want to startle anybody, because then they'll catch on to what I'm doing. And I ended up not saying it in time, and she actually ended up eating it and like spitting it out. And she was like really like messed up from that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but she didn't like actually eat it though. So like I guess it's kind of not bad. But then again, a dialogue option came up later. It was like I didn't say it in time, but like yeah. So then they find out.
This is also stupid because Lee just stands there accusing them of being cannibals instead of doing anything for them to have enough time to grab guns and hold us all hostage.
Yep. Well, they all had guns on them, which didn't help any of the situation.
Yeah, but we were like right next to the mom. We could have grabbed a butter knife and threatened her. I don't know. Done something more.
Yeah. If we had a gun on us, You had Carly with you, right? So what did
No,
Carly do?
she went back with Ben.
That's right. So we didn't have a gun. We should have
Yeah.
brought a gun with to this fucking this farm. This would have saved us a lot of trouble, wouldn't it?
Yep. Or it
Uh
just would have been a bloodbath. Who knows?
it would have. Yeah, true. They wouldn't have let it up easy. But yeah. So we get stuck up, then we get knocked out and get put in the freezer, which it's a huge fucking freezer. It's like this is like a commercial grade walk-in freezer, not a freezer, like refrigerator that they lock us in.
It's a big cattle farm.
Yeah. I guess it is a cattle farm. I forgot about that. Like that's where they keep all the meat. Duh. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, Larry gets really worked up here because we're trapped. It's us, Larry, Kenny, and Clem, uh, and Lily, all trapped in here, and Larry gets super worked up and has a fucking heart attack.
Yep.
Good
So
motherfucking riddance.
he has he has a heart attack, and the main thing now is deciding. Kenny is freaked out because he thinks he's dead, and Lily thinks he's not dead. So
Yep.
you have a choice to either help Larry or kill help Larry or kill Larry. That's basically what your options are. I
Yeah.
actually didn't decide in time, so Kenny ended up throwing a fucking salt lick on his head, smashing his head before I
Yeah.
even had a chance to do anything.
This is actually like a really tough, like looking back on it, I'm like, hell yeah, smush his head. But like playing it for the first time, like it's a tough decision. Like, what if he's actually not dead? Uh, but what if he is dead? Like Kenny says, he's going to
Exactly.
be a fucking 6 foot, 300 pound zombie.
Yeah, he's built like a shit brick house. Like that's a big ass zombie you got to deal with.
What are you going to do if he does turn? He's going to fucking eat you.
Exactly. So in a
Either way,
way,
Kenny crushes his head. It's just whether or not you piss off Lily in the process.
so it's either way.
Yeah, like you said, you didn't decide in time, and Kenny crushed his head. If you side with Lily, Kenny will crush his head anyways.
Oh, so you could okay. So you can go there and like try to give him CPR or whatever, and then Kenny will still throw a salt lick on his head and crush his head.
Yep. If
Okay,
you
so it's
side
all
with
in the good faith of Lily at that point.
yeah, if you side with Kenny, you hold Lily back, and she
Okay,
will never talk to you again.
yeah, that makes sense. Man,
Yeah, but I don't
I
like
chose
Lily either.
neutrality on that point, I guess.
I don't like Lily either, so I sided with Kenny this time, and we smushed his head. And
Yeah.
then you have to have the really awkward scene of asking the rifle through his pockets because we need a coin to open up the vent.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I like the whole time while you're doing this, Lily is just in shock. She's just like covered in blood from the blood splatters and just staring at her crushed in head dad. I felt really bad about this. Like it just sucked.
Yeah, the guy was
But
an asshole, but I feel bad for Lily.
yeah, the guy was an asshole, but yeah, he didn't deserve to die like that. And yeah, so we had to rifle through his pockets to get a coin to unscrew the air conditioner because that was the only way to get out. Because if we took out the air conditioner, then we'd be able to climb out through that hole.
Yep. Clem, since she's a small one, will be our hole climber, and she goes and unlocks the door on the other side for us.
Yeah, Clem is really good in situations like this when climbing in small spaces. She's just a trooper. She's great.
Yep. For some reason, Danny's not paying attention. He's this freezer was in the barn or the fridge, so we kind of sneak right up on him, but we end up jumping into one of the horse stalls or cow stalls, whatever they're, to hide. We
Yep.
get this funny jump scare where like you keep peeking out of the stall, and then the last time he's just fucking staring at you.
Yep. He's just gun pointing at us, and we had to act fast and grab the gun. And
I got shot like 3 times here.
you did?
Yeah, just because my cursor was on the other side of the screen, and I had to like quickly drag
Oh,
it over and click it. I didn't have my sensitivity high enough, I think.
oh, okay. That's weird. It was a mechanical issue with you. This is like failing this part. Um,
But yeah,
but
we
yeah,
we kind of
y-
quickly wrestled the gun away from him, and he gets caught in the fucking bear trap, which serves him right. Which,
yeah, right.
oh, actually, now that I think about it, it's probably these fuckers they're setting the bear traps in the woods so they can eat people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That makes a lot of sense because you don't want to release. You don't want the release on there because people are smart and they would just release it.
Yeah, yeah, you want to catch
Fuck
them so you can
yeah,
come eat them, huh?
yeah, it makes sense. So
Yeah, and that's probably why they were near our place to say hi to us, as they were going to go check that bear trap.
oh fuck, dude. Yeah, that's true. But they were out like looking for gas though.
I mean, that's what they said.
That's what they said. You're right. Yeah, these people are really good liars, obviously, because we found out that they were eating people, and they were
Yep.
actually like really good liars because like the way they played off everything up until this point was
I mean, they have good excuses for everything.
they did. So like they convinced me with that butcher room being not being for people. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I suppose you need a whole room for that, and you don't want people to see it.
Yep. You're talking about the atmosphere when we're in the forest at the beginning of the game. I
Yep.
think this is another one of those scenes where Telltale plays the atmosphere of this area like really well because it's starting to storm and it's dark out. So it's kind of like a tense wrapping up of the episode
Yep.
and all the conflict that's about to happen and all bloodshed. You can choose to spare Danny's life or not. You got a pitchfork and you can choose to stab him. But I chose to let him live here.
I did not. And Clementine saw all that, and I'm like, oh my god. I was just pissed, dude. I was just like, you know what I mean? Like, I really got into the character. I'm like, if
Yeah,
I was this guy, I would be so pissed that I just want to stab this guy. But then again, like thinking like how you said, like try to spare him, like should I just stab him in front of Clementine like that? If I wasn't even thinking about Clementine, I forgot
yeah.
she was there. I
You're
was just
just
like,
so enraged in the
zeroed
moment.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
that's
zeroed in, and I'm like, I'm gonna stab this guy, and I fucking stabbed him. And Clementine saw it, and then I instantly felt terrible. I'm like, oh my god.
and that's like we talked about in the intro. Like either way, Danny's gonna die by the end of this episode, whether it's by our hand
Okay.
or by Walker's. But like those kind of moments still matter to us as a viewer of this whole situation, and to Clem, who we know will remember this.
Yeah.
That's why they get those little prompts up there all the time.
Yeah. After all this, we have to get to the house because Brenda has Katja hostage.
Yep.
So we have the option at the beginning here when she calls us out. It's like, Danny, is that you? You have the option to like play as Danny.
Yeah.
I tried to play it off as if I was Danny, but it didn't work. I don't know what you did.
I don't know if the big black guy is gonna sound like
I was, I,
the twig white guy,
it was it was
the southerner.
yeah, it was a southerner
And I
accent.
don't
It's
think
like,
Lee has
yeah,
a
it's
southern
me.
drawl.
It was really bad, but then it pointed up. It said at the top was like, Brenda saw through your lie. I'm like, oh man. I don't know if there was any
Yeah.
other way around this. So that's why I'm asking.
No. I pretty much straight up say like he's dead, regardless if I killed him or not, just to fuck with her.
Yeah. So
'Cause fuck this girl.
yeah. So she gets frightened and then like holds Katja at gunpoint as we
I
walk in.
really dislike this part. This is another one of those
Yeah.
mechanical things where I'm like, okay, what's the right amount of moving where she doesn't shoot me but backs up, and like I replayed this like 5 times to get it.
I did too, dude.
Get
I
the-
died so many times at this point because like I was walking up, like because like Lee walks up really slowly, and like from the amount of media that I've seen, like if you can walk up slowly, you're not gonna like actually make them shoot you. I guess so. It's like
yeah,
I was influenced by that, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know that I had to stop every time she pointed the gun at me. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep walking forward slowly.
Yep.
And yeah, no, she would fucking shoot you if you just kept walking after she pointed the gun at you. It was kind of
Yep.
stupid because like she was just like pointing the gun at Katya, pointing the gun at you, and you had to stop. And then like there was a dialogue moment that came up. You could either
Yeah.
threaten her or try to calm her down. That was basically the two options that you had. I always tried to calm her down just because I kind of saw the walker who was
Uh, Legless Mark up on the stairs who turned
yeah,
into a.
Mark. Yeah, that's legless Mark was on the top of the stairs, and I saw him up there, just like kind of hanging out. So I'm like, all right, if she keeps backing up like this, I'm gonna, get a desirable outcome here.
Yeah, me when I get you.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we eventually trick Brenda into walking far enough back where Mark gives her the chomp and save Katja, and we can all have like a little gathering out on the lawn. And Andy comes up with Duck hostage because
Yeah,
I don't know Kenny's last name, but none of this family knows how not be not taken hostage.
everybody gets hostage in that family, man. They're just easy prey, I guess.
You,
Oh
it's
man.
we have to now talk fucking Andy down from holding Duck hostage and instead deal with us.
Yep.
I don't know if this is different for you. I think it depends how you deal with the situation. But he shot Kenny for me, not in like a fatal way. But Carly comes in and saves us and shoots Andy's ear off, and then that's when we get to be in a fist fight with him.
He did not shoot Kenny for me.
Okay,
So
it might
I must have
be
got
how
into
you
a
deal with it dialogue wise.
yeah, I must have got into a situation because Doug came up and actually shot him in the ear or something, and then he was like, ah, and then that's when
Oh,
I got into a fist fight with him
yep,
because
yep.
Doug had some sort of sniper rifle or something.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter if you have Carly or Doug. I guess they're both a good shot.
Yeah, they are, surprisingly. Because Doug had a sniper rifle, and from what I know, Carly has a pistol, so she would pop up anyways and still, distract him for you to get into a fist fight. But like Doug was like, when I first got out of the barn, I see like a red dot on me, and like, what the fuck? Somebody's trying to snipe me, and then it was Doug. I'm like, hey, it's me, and then he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Why do you have a sniper rifle with a laser? Where did you get that? Because Doug is
I
like a
think
nerd and stuff, so he's like kind of into that stuff.
I think this is the rifle that they use for watching when they stay on top of the RV.
Oh, yep, that must
'Cause I
be.
think Lily has this later as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, we Danny gets thrown off his game and Duck gets saved, and then we get to beat Andy's ass down.
yeah. So there was a weird part in this where the cutscene didn't activate. Remember when he was like pushing Lee onto the barbed wire fence?
Yeah,
And you're like trying to resist and everything. Like I was on point, dude. Like he was not letting me hit that fence, or I was not letting Lee hit that fence, and I was doing that for a solid 2 minutes, and nothing was happening. And if I found out that you actually had to like let it go up to you gotta let his head go up to the fence before the cutscene triggered. And I thought that was like kind of weird because
it's just intended to do it until you fail.
do it until you fail, but like I didn't fail. Like I was sitting there for a long ass time, like resisting him. And like I'm like, what do I gotta do? And I'm like, okay, then I just like I kind of got like weirded out because I was doing this for such a long time that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna see what happens if I let him touch, you know, let my head touch the fence. And then
Yeah.
like I just like let go, and that's when the cutscene happened. I was like, okay, I don't think that's very good game design because like either you make me intentionally fail by actually trying, or you just like do something because like I was like really good on that fucking button mashing, dude. I was just like I had it like on one hand, and I was just like fucking throwing my thumbs on that shit,
Fucking
and it just
Street Fighter
nothing was
spamming it.
happening. Yeah, and like, why would you just like? Why would you have to make me intentionally fail for something to happen? Like, that
Yeah.
didn't make any sense to me.
Since I pissed Lily off by assisting with her dad's death, she comes out of the barn with her rifle and she just stares at me and does nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if she helped you out at all.
Um, she did help me out. I suppose because I was staying neutral, because she actually ended up shooting him.
Yeah, she just stares at me and she was going to let me die. I think then Lee overpowered Andy in my instance
Okay.
somehow. But then you get the moral decision to deal with this brother.
Yeah.
You want to either kill him or leave him to the walkers. And I just walked away. Like, I'm
Yeah, me too.
not fucking with you.
Yeah, same. I already felt bad by Clementine seeing me kill one guy. I wasn't gonna make myself look like a murderer by killing this guy too. He was gonna die anyways with the walkers, so I just let him be.
Yep. So yeah, we all head back to our camp then. Just a average day in the apocalypse, and we get our saving grace because we run into a running station wagon on the way back to our camp, and all the lights are on, but there's no one in there, and it's completely full of food and supplies. And you get one
Yeah.
last decision here whether you want to partake in or not in stealing the stuff with everyone else.
Yeah. So the thing is, everyone else thinks we should take it, and Clementine's the only one that thinks we shouldn't take it. I think like it was. I don't know. I guess there's not a right or wrong decision in any situation. I don't know. Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, we're starving too.
Yeah, we're starving too. I decided to take it. I told Clementine, like, we got to do this, man. Like, we're starving. They left it here. It's kind of survival of the fittest, I guess. It's like, if you didn't want your shit taken, you should have left it guarded.
I did not steal from it here, technically. Like, I clicked not to steal with it, but Carly still comes over to give us new batteries for a radio. And then, obviously, we continue to partake in that food. We don't go hunting for our own.
Yeah.
So we kind of steal it regardless, if you think about it.
Oh, okay. So it was one of those artificial decisions there.
Sort of. Like, technically, we still have the moral high ground of saying we denied it. But
Yeah.
we know that Clem and Lee need to eat for the next few months that we're going to fast forward. So it's not like we just refuse to partake in any of the food that came out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I suppose eventually they probably caved, but that pretty much ends episode 2 there.
Before the episode ends, we get to see this whole videotape of this lady
Jolene,
filming
yeah.
the people at Motor Inn.
This little plot point is so stupid. I don't know if it was a side story they intended to go further.
I have no idea. I thought there was going to be something crazy too, but like, well, we found out that this woman that we encountered at the camp was stalking Clementine and thinking that she needed to be saved or whatever. So she like snuck in and stole her hat or something. Because earlier, while we were at the Motor Inn, Clementine was like, I don't know where my hat went, because she didn't have her hat.
Yeah.
Then we found the hat at the camp that she was staying at. Found out that she was stalking them by like filming them and stuff, saying I have no idea what this point was, the point they mean to make with this whole video here, but I think it was to reveal that she took the hat. So
Yeah, but I mean, we found that out anyways when we found the hat in our camp.
that's true. So it kind of was pointless, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird subplot. Like, if you look into a lot of the details in the game, her, I think it was her daughter, got taken by bandits and stuff. So she was like obsessing over her new daughter.
Yeah, so yeah, she kind of lost it, but
It's not the only one, even in this season, that goes nowhere.
yeah,
There's a few other characters and plot points that you'll never see again in the game.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and then after that, that's the end of episode 2.
get your recap and your results, and you jump into episode 3.
Yeah.
What the?
Can't wait for you to get to Savannah, Clementine. I got your parents right here. And you be sure to find me, whether Lee wants you to or not. Now, what I need...
Holy shit.
I thought that fucking thing was broken.
So did I. Who the fuck was that? If he's convinced Clementine that he has her parents.
Y'all might want to rethink your plan.
So at the beginning of episode 3, we go in with Kenny and Lee looking for loot inside Macon again. They're going in on their own and they're just looking for stuff. Get on top of this trailer and they find this lady that's screaming for her life, and you get the choice to either help her out because you guys have a rifle and she's just out here. She looks like she's already bitten. She's covered in blood and stuff. And
Yeah, she gets bit almost immediately when she starts screaming.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you see her get bit and everything. You have the choice to either help her anyways or just leave her.
I don't know if I was just playing a more evil playthrough this time, but I shot her immediately because I'm like, our people need these supplies, and she's already bit.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that in previous playthroughs before, so I was always like, I let her live this time instead of shooting her. But I was like, okay, maybe it'll make a difference having all these extra supplies, and there'll be a different point. But there's no real difference in the amount of supplies you get from this place, even with the weird looting mini game. And Kenny rats you out for your immoral decision, anyways. Later to everyone else, and I'm like, "What the fuck, Kenny?"
Yeah, what the hell,
Like-
man? I thought we were homies. What the fuck?
It's like, yeah, we only got this much stuff because Kenny let this girl get eaten, or because Lee let this girl get eaten alive.
It was his choice to leave her too. I ended up leaving her because, like, yeah, you have a point. It could just like draw the zombies away from us while we go grab some stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, she's already bitten. She's dead anyways. So I'm like, all right, let's just go. Yeah. So like when he said that, like later on, he's like, yeah, it's because we left her to die. I'm like, what the fuck is your idea, man? Whatever. But yeah, so we get into this store where time is of the essence, where we have to grab a bunch of stuff while the zombies are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you're like running through the hallways and grabbing stuff. I don't know how much this affects anything.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I've gotten a couple items before. And this time I got every item. There's no dialogue difference.
So this doesn't mean anything. This is pointless. So we
grab as much as you feel like grabbing.
grab as much as you want. It doesn't matter, man. It's like it's whatever. So you grab a bunch of stuff and head back to the motor inn where you talk to Lily about things that are happening around the camp.
Yeah, she knows someone has been stealing supplies because she keeps her own separate log. And we kind of get to do some investigative work.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool because Duck kind of tags along with you, pretending he's Robin and you're Batman.
Yeah.
And it's really cute because he's just like, he's really funny. I love Duck for this part in particular because he's just like, he does little voices. He's like, Roger that. And he's like,
he's a silly
there's
kid.
something over here. He's actually really helpful, finding stuff for you too.
Yeah. This is the part I was talking about in the intro that I was getting frustrated over that I'm like, I could use a hint here. because he'll help you find the broken flashlight and the chalk on the wall. But where I was missing is like, I was like, okay, I know Duck's standing by the gate. There's something over here. Turns out it was a little bit of chalk on the ground
Yep.
that like you don't really see unless you hover over it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like walking around for like 10 minutes, like, where's the thing I'm supposed to find?
And the chalk was on the ground, like next to the dumpster, right?
Yeah, and then once we leave, we find the little stash that someone in our group has been giving to the raiders. And for some reason, this all happens very fast. We report it to Lily that what we found, and then we immediately get attacked by raiders, and all of our
Yep.
people are held hostage.
Yeah, I mean, this investigative part took way longer than it should have been because it had to have been like probably up to an hour of like gameplay of just like looking for stuff. I felt like I was walking around for an hour.
It does
Um,
feel like a while. It's stupid, and you can try and talk to people. This is where Carly or Doug. Oh, I guess I don't know if Doug says it. Carly tries to tell other people about our past. I don't know if Doug says anything like that. He probably doesn't even know
no,
about our past.
Doug isn't really helpful in this in situation at all. So
Since Carly was a journalist, she covered the story of us going to prison. So she knows about our murder and kind of just wants us to tell other people. And this is kind of where I told Kenny about my past, and he's like, who cares, man? It's in the past.
yeah, exactly. So I never told Kenny any of this because like I was with Doug and Doug never suggested any of that. So I guess I never really got the
Hmm.
dialogue option to do so.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe
that's an
I did.
interesting difference
Maybe
then.
I did. I just didn't remember it. If it was an option or not. But I never ended up telling him. But either way, like he ended up not caring really at all when he did find out. So yeah, so it's like this part where all the bandits were attacking. This is where it turns into a first person shooter because you're having to shoot all these zombies and bandits that are coming into the camp while people are trying to hide and stuff. So you're like the main hero trying to shoot everybody, and this goes on for a while, but then we end up getting the RV started, and we all climb in and run away.
Yep. I sorry to go back a little bit. This is just a nitpick about the investigation scene. When we're asking people if they have pink chalk, I asked Clem about it because she was drawing with chalk.
Yeah.
She's like, "No, I don't have any pink chalk." As you can see in the scene, there's a piece of pink chalk sitting right next to her. Like, what the fuck, Telltale?
Oh
Obviously,
my
your
god.
storyboard artists do not talk to your like graphic design team.
Yeah, there had to have been some sort of fucking
Disconnect there.
there was disconnect. Yeah, that's what it was. There was some sort of disconnect there because I noticed that too. It was like, Clem, are you lying to me right now? I was hoping there was an option that came up like that, and there wasn't. I'm like, are we just gonna ignore that shit right there?
I'm like, it's right
What is
there.
going on here?
There's a couple of moments like that. They're usually pretty subtle. Like you have to be paying attention to the background to see those inconsistencies, but it's funny when you do catch them.
Yeah, and I actually forgot about that because it was like, like, why did we like? Why is? Are we serious right now? Oh man.
Yeah, but like you said, we all do manage to get away mostly unscathed into the RV and escape. But Katja calls us up to the front of the car, and it turns out Duck was bitten in the escape.
Yeah, Duck was bitten in the escape, but Lily is going nuts here in the back, just accusing everybody.
Yeah, she is not letting the thievery go.
Yeah, so she's really upset, and so we don't have time to think about Duck right now. We have to figure out what we're gonna do with either Carly or Doug or Ben.
Yeah, and then we hit a walker on the road. So I don't know how Kenny didn't see that, but we pull over because he needs to conveniently take like 5 minutes to pull the walker out from underneath their RV.
Yeah.
And Lily takes this opportunity to continuously accuse Carly, in my case, I assume Doug in yours,
Yeah.
and then of being the thieves. She trusts us and I guess trusts Kenny enough because she's not accusing him. But it gets to the point where Kenny eventually gets the Walker freed, and the argument got so heated that Lily pulls out her gun and shoots Carly, in my case,
Yeah. Doug in my case.
just right on the spot there.
Yeah. So I tried like I don't know if there was any way around. I doubt there was any way around this, but I tried to stay neutral around this. I'm like, okay, calm down. All right, everybody, like let's not try to accuse everybody cuz like we need to have some sort of trial here and or whatever the case.
Yeah.
And so like she ended up shooting Doug, and I'm like, dude, why are you fucking pulling out a gun and shooting people? Like you're fucking staying here. You're done.
Oh, you left her on the side?
I did.
I did as well in my first playthrough. In this one, I brought her with us just because knowing the events of the future games, I figured this makes more sense. But yeah, either way, you get to decide what to do with Lily here, and we kind of leave. If you bring Lily with, which I did, we will stop at some train tracks eventually, and Lily's gonna steal the RV anyways.
Really?
Yeah, we handcuff her in the back of the RV, but as we're all outside talking, she gets out and steals the RV.
Holy shit. Do you at least get the pencil out of there?
Yeah, that's actually how she took it over. She held us by gunpoint when we were looking for the pencil.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. Well, yeah. So when we get to the train tracks and we get to the train and we're like, you know, we can start this train.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we go in. Well, I guess before this, we got while we're in the RV, Clementine turns into a zombie and attacks us. But then Lee wakes up. Don't worry, he wakes up. I guess it's not really important to say, but like that was an interesting thing. I'm like, no, not Clementine.
I like it though because it's a good fake out for us as the audience, and it I feel like builds more character of Lee, showing how much he cares about Clementine.
Yeah,
That's kind of like that's his fear that he's having nightmares of.
yeah, that because like of what happened to Duck, he's probably thinking of like what if Clementine got bit, you know, like which is probably his worst fear. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, both the Walking Dead show and this, the bite time to get infected is random. Like, at least Last of Us had a little chart in the show. Like, if you get bit in one of these places, this is average how long it's going to take. Uh,
Really? There's a
in
chart?
Yeah, in the show of that, but in the Walking Dead universe, there's there's no rhyme or reason. It's story driven. How long we're gonna give you guys to turn, however long you need to wrap up all your story elements, and then you can turn.
Man, I really need to play that game. It seems like a really good game.
Like the Walking Dead show, there's people who turn in like a minute, and then there's people
Yeah.
who got bit, and it takes them like a whole day of being sick, which is kind of what we get here with Duck, who is sick for the whole drive and is just very very slowly turning.
Yeah, he was progressively getting sick, and we got to think about, like, you know, what are we going to do with Duck? But
Yep.
Kenny's in denial. He's just like, we don't want to talk about that.
It's like, yep, we're just getting the train started, and that's it.
Yep. Yep. Don't worry about it. And, you know, like, I understand, like, that's his son. Like, I couldn't imagine being in that situation, too. Like,
Yeah,
oof. Yeah, so,
but
um,
as his friend, we do have to urge him to make a decision.
yeah.
We don't make a decision before we leave, though. We do end up getting the train started,
Which
which
was a hassle and a half to get started, bro.
it's a whole runaround of stuff.
It is. So you have to like go and do this and that. Like, I don't even want to
Yeah,
get into specifics on like how to get this train started because if it
yeah.
was like a fucking hassle, bro.
We get to meet Chuck here too, who is a what do you call him, like boxcar dweller? I don't know what the
Boxcar
right term
dweller
is.
or vagrant or
Vagrant. Yeah, that makes sense. He seems
he's a
like he's
homeless
been
guy.
living this life before the apocalypse.
Yeah, he definitely seems so, and he seems pretty knowledgeable about. I don't know
A
how
lot
many
of
people
stuff, really.
he's met before us, but he seems like knowledgeable about like how things work. So we
Yep.
take his advice. He says to, well, I mean, before all this, we get the train started after all that, but we talked to. I ended up stealing his map and not telling him about it. I don't know if that makes any difference with you.
I told him, but he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't need that."
Okay, what the fuck? Because with me, like
He's just lying to everyone.
it made me feel really bad for not telling him too. Because I'm like, oh, I don't know where it could be, and then like, he's like, where I used to have a map. If I could find that map, I could, yeah, I'd give it to you, but I don't know where it went. I'm like, oh god. And I told him I didn't tell him I had it, and then I ended up feeling bad about that. I'm like, oh, this is gonna bite me in the ass.
Oh, he's actually super nice about it. He's like, "Oh, nice."
Cool. You already found it. It's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
dug through your stuff and stole your map. And I like that
To
sounding
be
in my head.
fair,
I'm like, I should not tell him that because like I sound like a piece of shit. I don't
to
even
be
know this guy.
fair, it didn't look like anyone was actively living there at the time.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Um,
So
but yeah, we actually get the train started and head down the tracks, and we make it for a while before Duck starts coughing up blood, and Kenny needs to face reality.
yeah. We tell him to
Um,
stop the train, and we do stop the train.
yep.
And we have to
Katja,
we kind of get into a fight trying to convince Kenny to do something about it because
yeah.
he's that much in denial. Like, I feel
Well,
bad for Kenny because, like, it's like you gotta know, you gotta tell him like this needs to happen. Something needs to be done about this. But he's just like, no, 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 don't worry about it, don't worry about it. And it's like, no,
yep.
this kid could kill us all.
Yeah, he doesn't want to face the fact that, like, it's just as bad as, well, obviously not as bad, like, physically, as Larry turning and stuff. Like, you have to do something about it. He's a
Yeah,
risk, and he's going to turn. You can't just pretend he's different.
yeah.
Kenny expresses, like, remorse about Sean dying and stuff, and he's like, this is just karma that's coming back to kill my son now.
Oh man. I
So,
suppose with me ending up saving Duck, that this I didn't get that dialogue from him. But
yeah, he
that's
felt like
terrible.
since his son lived and Herschel's died, he felt like really bad about it and thought this was the universe coming back at him.
Wow. Yeah.
But we do convince Kenny and we stop the train, and Katja says she'll take Duck into the woods to deal with it because she knows Kenny isn't strong enough for it. Which
Yeah.
is like, knowing what happens to Katja, I don't think she went out there knowing what she was going to do. I think she did intend to deal with it and just failed to. But
hmm
like, God, imagine having to like tell your husband, like, yes, I will go kill her son, so you don't have
She
to.
seemed. I opted to do it myself, but I had no idea what was about to happen, and I was trying to put myself in that mindset. It's like, yeah, it's like she probably, because she seemed more accepting of what the situation was than Kenny this whole
Yeah,
time. She was actually the one suggesting to Kenny, like, yo, we need to do something about this. And Kenny was the one who's like, no, no, we're fine. We're good. Let's just keep trucking. And, she was actually arguing with him, and I took her side. So, like, what happened was, like, completely unexpected to me.
yeah.
Ugh.
So Katja ends up going out into the woods with Duck, and after a little while, we hear just a single gunshot. And then after waiting a little while longer, Katja doesn't come back, and we go out with Kenny to investigate, and we see that Katja shot herself instead. And so
Yeah.
now we have a zombie duck to deal with still.
Yeah. I mean, for me, since I opted to do it, she said that I'm going to take him out there and say my goodbyes and stuff. So she went out there and did all that, and then me and Kenny were like, "What was that?" And then we just ran up there and yeah, found her. It's Yeah, it's terrible, man, dude. I was like, this was like the start of my emotional
Decline.
everything coming out, dude. My emotional decline, exactly. Because, like, dude, I was like,
It
tears
only
were
gets
running
worse.
down my face as I was like doing this, and like, I felt terrible, man.
Dude, this game
Oh,
is not happy. For mine, since I let Katja be the one to go take him out, we knew she had a gun with her. Kenny was walking very calmly with me when we went out there, and then just like seeing his face as we approach where they were, and like him breaking down is it's the saddest thing to see.
oh, man, dude, I couldn't handle it. I was just like, oh fuck, and then I had to take the gun. I opted to shoot duck myself, and I
I did
told
as
Kenny to
well.
go away because like there's no way that you could deal with that while also shooting your son. There's just no way. I wouldn't let Kenny do that,
Mm.
and I was just like tears running down my face. I'm like, sorry, I'm sorry, Duck. I'm sorry, Kenny. This had to happen to you. Man, I was super emotional throughout this scene.
And just like that, Kenny is now a single man,
Yeah,
no kids.
he's widowed. Male version of widowed. What do you call that? What is there a
I
male
think
widow? Like, why do you, when you think of a widow, you think of a wife that's lost her husband. Who's a husband that lost his wife?
it's widow both ways.
Okay, so Kenny is now widowed. That sounds weird when I say it.
It's because usually wives outlive their husbands,
That's true.
but
These men are stupid. Just saying.
unfortunately not in this circumstance. But yeah, we go back to the train and we pretty much continue on because there's really nothing else we can do.
Yeah,
This is where I have a chat with Chuck in the front of the train. Kenny just keeps driving the train and he's in his sorrows. We kind of got to leave him be. But Chuck gives us a lot of pretty hard but truthful advice about Clem and how we like the kind of things we need to do to protect her. He's like, she's gonna get eaten too. You gotta like prepare for that. You gotta train her because until now we've kind of been babying her and trying to protect her from everything. But after this conversation, I agree with Chuck. You can also argue with him. I'm like, sure. So I'm gonna go show her how to shoot. I'm gonna cut her hair, and we're gonna talk about our plan for once we get to Savannah, which is where her parents are.
yeah. So after we teach Clementine how to shoot and we cut her hair, we finally are able to
Continue on.
continue on.
If you have a chat with Ben here too, it's completely optional, but he'll admit to you that he was the guy who was selling you guys out to the Raiders.
Yeah, I did talk to him and I did find that out, but I told him to keep it to himself because
Yeah,
whatever happened happened. Like from now on, if anybody found out, like
Kenny
you'll
would kill
get
his
blamed for
ass.
everything, and we should not do that. So
Yeah, we already don't have enough people left in our group after just losing 1-4 in the last day.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm like, dude, keep it to yourself. Like, don't even talk about that again. And
Yep.
he seemed adamant about that. He's like, I don't know, and like you just keep it to yourself.
Yep. We continue for a while until we reach a bridge where there's a fuel truck hanging off. We get out to investigate a little bit, and conveniently, as in the apocalypse, just everyone runs into each other. We meet two new people, Omid and Krista, who were on top of the bridge and offer to help us out.
They seem like some cool people. They
Yeah.
I mean, they offered to help, and well, I guess they're just as distrustworthy as I mean, not distrustworthy, but distrusting as
Yes.
we are. So we kind
Krista
of
is. I feel like Omid is immediately ready to make friends.
Yeah,
He's
it
such a
was
fun
more
guy.
Krista. It was more Krista that was more distressing than Omid. Omid was just like already. He's like, "Oh yeah, you have a kid," and it's like, "Why are they so obsessed with the kid?" I was kind of weirded out by them by that. And it was like, "Why do you want to hang out with the kid? Well, what's your game here?"
I don't I don't think they mention it in this one. I think it's at the beginning of season 2, but they've been trying to have a kid for a while.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense actually. I was weirded out. I was like keeping my eye on them. I'm like, yeah, these people are just like keep an eye on them. They're really into Clementine.
or or she's pregnant. I can't remember if she's pregnant at this point. If Krista is.
So did they survive no matter what?
Omid and Krista do, yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, we get to explore this nearby station that conveniently has a not a welding torch. What's the opposite? Blowtorch.
This is a torch, blowtorch. Yeah,
Yeah, so that we can drop the tanker because that's not going to go bad. But it didn't, I guess. I mean, it fell to the side.
it did. I thought it was just as a bad idea, but like, what choice do you have? You know?
That's true. Yeah, comparing that to walking.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it could blow up as soon as it falls, but it also could just fall down because it's not that bad of a drop, and then it could just fall to the side. That's what I was hoping for, and
Yep.
my hopes came true.
We kill some walkers in this place, and then Krista like immediately barges in after and like chastises us for putting Clementine in danger there. And she immediately becomes like the new Larry to me. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I know. It's like Clementine is so helpful and so resourceful. Like she's like so resilient and like I didn't see any bad idea coming from this because she's like really smart and like, I really trusted her throughout this whole game.
Though I don't think we made a bad decision as a player. I do think Lee made a bad decision in this situation for not checking if there's a zombie already in the cage that we put her
That's true.
in the cell area that she walks into.
Yeah, cuz like that zombie like kind of just like rose up from the other side of the room and you probably could have easily saw that if you just like kind of checked the area first.
Yep. But either way, we do get back up onto the bridge with the blowtorch and have a cool scene of getting to saw it off. And then the train gets going again because there's a fucking horde coming.
Yeah, so the train gets moving, and our only opportunity to get back on the train is to jump off the bridge onto the top of the train.
Yep.
And Omid is like, fuck all that. I'm not doing it. I'm like, dude, you have no choice. We're doing it.
Did you push him or you let him jump
I
himself?
didn't push him. I ended up jumping myself. I'm like, all right, suit yourself. And then I jumped. And I'm like, he's gonna come if he wants. I'm like, this is just a no brainer here. Like, you either come or you're not coming.
Yep.
And he ended up jumping off after me and missing the train and breaking his leg.
I on my
Not
first
breaking his
playthrough,
leg, but sprained his ankle or something.
I'm like, well, if I leave him, he's gonna die. So I pushed him, and he does the same thing. He falls off and breaks his leg, or whatever happened with it.
Yeah, he injured his leg in some way.
I felt so bad for that. So this time I let him jump himself, and he still does it.
It still happens.
But at
So
least
it's like-
I felt less bad because I didn't cause it.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and then you're fronted with the choice to either save Krista or Omid because they're both running next to the train.
Yep.
I opted to run for Krista because she was behind and Omid was like right next to the train. I don't know why you didn't jump on already. So I'm like, all right, so like I'm gonna save Krista because she's behind. We're almost like passing her.
Same.
And I've
Same
saved
here.
her. And then or no, it was Omid. It was Omid that was behind. So I picked him up and then he's like, "Oh my god, she was a girl, but like she was ahead and abled." So like what was like why didn't she jump on? And then she ended up jumping on. I'm like, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
What
I
the
did
fuck?
this. I did the other way. I picked up Krista, and she's like, "What the hell? What'd you do that for?" You should have saved him. And
So either way, they'll get mad at you for not saving the other. And it's like,
yeah,
come on.
they both make it though.
Yeah, they both make it. And I'm like, I'm going to save the not abled one that's behind because that seems like the logical thing to do because you're right next to the train opening. You could just jump on.
Yep.
She ended up jumping on anyways. I'm like, that's what I thought.
Yeah. As we continue on with our train journey again, we had Clem's radio because we like put new batteries in it or something, and we hear a strange voice from it saying that there's the stranger says he's excited to meet her. So she's been talking to someone behind our back in Savannah.
Yeah. Some creepy sounding guy.
Yeah, which also, how fucking long of a range do these radios have? Holy shit.
Very long. I know I used to deal with a lot of radios at my last job, and most of them go up to like a mile, and which is like a really far distance in my perspective because they're radios. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
they only can connect to each other. They don't go off satellite radios or anything. So like a mile. So like if they've been talking to each other this whole time and we've been on this train going for however long, it's like, do these radios get cell reception? Like what the hell is going on? But
Macon
yeah,
to
it's kind of weird.
Savannah is 169 miles.
Make it to some 100. Yeah, no, there's no way, bro. They've been talking this whole time. Yeah, that's kind of a fetch for story plot there
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
the
'cause they were-
radio thing.
Yeah, they've been talking since the hotel, I think. Or the
Yeah,
motel.
that's definitely a fetch. There's no way, bro.
Yeah. As we kind of freak out about the radio thing, it cuts to episode 4, and we get our cool choice slide again to see how you did.
Yeah, the whole community thing to see how we did with other people. Yeah, so a lot of people shot Duck.
Yeah. I feel like it's the right choice. Like, you can't, after he loses his wife, subject Kenny to also kill Duck.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you kind of have to be heartless to be like, yeah, go ahead, shoot your son. You know, like it's like, come on. I feel like a lot of people throughout this, other than like the timed events to where you're like kind of neutral in whatever you pick, most people are like good people trying to make the good decisions. So yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm like most people shot Duck. Not a
Yeah.
lot of people abandoned Lily.
Lily. Yeah, I guess it's because of the more finality of the decision. Whereas if you get to bring her with, I guess you can
Oh,
feel
actually,
like you will make a decision later.
sorry. No, I read that wrong. Most people did abandon Lily.
Oh,
Only I want to say like 30% took Lily with or did not leave her. So
I could justify it either way. Heat of the motion, heat of
yeah,
the moment.
I mean, it was just like it was one of those things. Is like you shot one of my friends. Like fuck you.
Yeah,
But
with
like
little to no evidence.
it's either like your resilience of your compassion. I guess at that point, it's like if you have a lot of compassion, you could feel bad for Lily and be like, okay, you made a rash decision. You just murdered somebody, but you know, we'll take you with.
Yeah,
But like, if you just like, if you're really that attached to that character, it'd be like, you could just be like, fuck off, go away.
it's hard to say that she's not going to be a continuous threat, which does prove to be true.
Yeah, I mean,
She's
abandon
still
you
the-
anyways.
You know,
But how could you know that in that moment? You know?
yeah, we start episode 4 in the streets of Savannah. Kind of gives us like I assume like a day time jump or something.
Yeah,
All of our crew has left the train, and we're kind of walking around when a bell tower starts ringing, and a mysterious person runs along the rooftops. We all stand around like fucking idiots, and just stare at the bell until we get absolutely surrounded by another horde of zombies who came
Yep.
to hear the bell that we were standing next to.
yeah, exactly. We get surrounded, and we get to this point. This is what pissed me off. Ben and Clementine were surrounded by zombies.
Oh my god, I wanted to
And
shoot this fucker
I'm
here.
watching this guy try like He didn't even try. I'm like, dude, do something. I'm like, watching this as I'm watching a show. I'm like, dude, pick her up and run away. She's like fucking 10 pounds, bro. Run away.
Yeah.
And then he just fucking runs away. I'm like, dude, you fucking coward, man. What are you doing? Why would you leave a little 8-year-old girl defend herself with a bunch of these zombies, bro?
Yeah.
That
Ben is,
yeah.
after trying all the different playthroughs with Ben and stuff, he's kind of irredeemable regardless. Like, I'll talk more later when we get to it about Ben's reasoning for the way he is.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's really redeemable. Like, he's a coward and he caused several people's deaths throughout
Yeah.
this.
Exactly. So like, yeah, and I'll tell you how I felt about that decision we made with him. But like, anyways, we
Chuck saves her though.
Chuck does save her, and I really appreciate that. We have an option to go back and look for him too, but like I feel like we had other things to take care of first for ourselves, and I think that's what took priority for me.
Yeah, I kind of left Chuck. I figured he
Yeah,
was fine on his own.
me too. I mean, he knew what he was doing for sure. So
Yeah, he told us to go as well. It's not like we just abandoned him.
exactly.
He drew the
So
walkers to him and yelled at us to leave.
yeah, I wasn't too upset with my decision there, but like, so we get to this house, we get to the backyard of this house, and we were able to close the fence behind us, and so we're
Yeah.
trying to find a way into this house.
For some reason, this becomes our hangout for this whole episode.
Yeah,
But I thought this was kind of a clever puzzle. I just didn't like the way that it was done. Like, I gotta go find a shovel and dig up the dog, and I was like looking for things. I'm like, where the fuck is the shovel? I know what I have to do. I had to like go way over to the
Yep.
edge of the screen to find the shovel in the shed.
yeah,
It's a one of those doggy sensor doors, and we had to dig up the dead dog in the backyard to use his collar to get in.
which is another thing. Is like, how old are these doggy censored doors? You know, like the first comic book of this series was made in 2003. Obviously, this is a more modern adaptation of that.
Takes place in 2010 though.
Oh, it takes place. Okay, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, we could have microchip sensors.
Yeah, I think those were common. Yeah, not common, but like rich people, of course, would have them in Savannah.
Yeah, this was a very nice house. This was like a manor, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, they're living on the fucking is it a river? Or I think the river that leads out
River.
to the ocean.
Yeah, it was Riverside. Yeah, it was a very big, very nice house.
But yeah, we gotta search this house a little bit just to make sure it's all safe. And Ben ends up pulling us upstairs because Kenny won't leave the attic. Kind of a too soon moment where we have to go up there and we find out that Kenny is staring at a little emaciated boy who starved to death in the attic,
Yep.
became a walker, and he looks a lot like Duck.
Yeah, he can't bring himself to do it this way. He's really somber about it. So
I killed the boy again, so Kenny didn't have to.
I feel like this was like a point of like closure for him. Like, this is not Duck. You know, you could do this. And, I gave him the courage to do it himself. Maybe I was like hoping for some sort of closure with him. And I don't know if that worked or not, but like I ended up having Kenny do it for it.
Okay. Either way, we end up burying the boy with his dog back in the grave out in the backyard. And Telltale, not everything has to be interactable. Not
Yeah.
everything has to take like 5 times. I understand the weight of having to continuously pour dirt into the grave.
Yeah.
But
This
I
being a whole fucking interactable event was just fucking stupid, dude.
I could have gotten it with a cutscene rather than 8 clicks. One for the
Yep.
dirt, one for the grave.
Yep. And you're just going back and forth, just putting dirt in the grave. And I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Ugh. We see a man like standing outside the fence, just staring at us. And as we approach, he runs away.
Yeah. Could be that weird stranger or the bell ringer. Who knows?
Yeah. So we like try to yell at him and he like runs away, and then people come out, they're like, "What's going on?" And it's like, "Yeah, there's a guy out." I told
Yeah,
him, I mean, I guess you could have lied, but I told him there was a guy out there. He's like stalking us.
yeah. They believe us, but they don't really give a shit.
Yeah, they don't really care.
Kenny says we need to go look for a boat now, though. That's been his whole big plan. Is why we're in Savannah. Is looking for Kun's parents and finding a boat for Kenny.
Yep.
He thinks that's the end all be all. Though you're gonna starve to death on a boat if you don't find food, Kenny.
Yeah, so we go out to look for a boat. We hear the bells again, and we have to hide because there's like walkers walking by, and Kenny gets riled up because like just hates this guy. Whoever
When
this
I see
doing
them,
this
I'm gonna
is
ring their fucking bell.
yeah, exactly. So then we eventually, after that, we all reach the coast, and there's no boats. There's one boat, but
There's half a boat. Yeah.
half a boat. And Kenny's just like he's in denial. Like he seems to be in denial about a lot of things. It seems as being his grieving process. He's just immediately in denial. He's like, yeah, I can save this. This can work. Like go over there and look it through that binoculars and see if we can find any more. I'll work on this.
We end up seeing someone come down from the building while using that, and they go up to the newsstand to look around for stuff. Kenny decides we need to sneak up on them to knock them out, but due to editing magic somehow, she dips down behind the counter and appears behind us.
Yep,
We overpower her though.
almost. Yeah, almost kills him, but we're able to take care of that situation and actually have a talk with her.
I'm more calm now, but like as I was playing this, I was like, this whole scene is so fucking stupid. I hate this.
Yeah.
Between the editing magic of I was looking off to the right, she did not ever sneak out past us. All of a sudden she's just behind us. Then
Yep.
just as we're about to we're pointing the gun down at this girl that we just pinned to the ground, Clam appears behind us. Like, how the fuck did you get out? Who wasn't
Yeah,
watching you?
and you snuck all the way over here. Were you stalking us? Were you following us from like 10 feet away? Like,
Yeah,
what was going on? What were you doing, Clem? We don't ever get no resolution for why, like, how she did all that. And I'm like, what
yeah.
the fuck? I was so confused.
And then we let Molly back up because we're like, oh yeah, let's be calm. Let's just chat with her. And then Kenny comes up behind her and tries to shoot her and fucking misses and shoots the ground. But Kenny, what the fuck were you doing? I was just chatting with her.
Exactly.
Where the
What the
fuck were
hell?
you in the last 2 minutes? I
He
just
was busy fucking around with that boat.
this whole sequence is stupid. But he like
It
snuck
is.
around the other side. I don't know where he went.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after everything calms down, we're like, Clam, what the fuck? And Molly's just being aloof about everything.
Yeah, she tells us about this Crawford place that we're standing right next to that
Yeah,
doesn't allow children or elderly people.
yeah, we first noticed it when we were looking for whatever to help us with our situation, and we found like a
Yeah.
pile of
I got a cool
bodies.
ass walker wall.
Yeah, they got a walker wall. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Um, they got a walker wall, and they got like walkers like stuck on pikes, and they're still alive, and they're just kind of like groaning and waving at us and stuff, and all that.
As Molly exposits to us all about Crawford and what Savannah's like, the horde that previously passed by comes back because of Kenny and his dumb fucking gunshot.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those movie moments that, like in the Walking Dead show, where I'm like, why are you guys so stupid? They get themselves cornered into an alleyway. Kenny drops us for the second time because he can't pull us up onto the balcony.
Yep.
Because he drops us earlier when we were having that choice to shoot that girl because he couldn't pick us up onto the semi trailer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he's just man,
Like, this guy's
fucking
just got no
Kenny.
body strength to pull us up.
It's he did the same thing when we were in that barn with Danny or fighting Andy.
Mhm.
He just stood there and watched. So like Kenny's kind of like a coward in some situations, but he talks all tough.
Yeah, I he means well, but he's kind of
He
fucking
means
incompetent
well, but he
sometimes.
doesn't. he doesn't pick up when he needs to, and it's like it's kind of frustrating.
He lives by sheer luck.
He does. Yeah. I'm always like, you're lucky I like you, dude.
He is a lovable guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we end up hoisting Kenny and Clem up, and they get out of harm's way with Molly, but we end up having to go into a sewer grate
Yep.
to escape them.
Yep. So now we're in the sewers. There's no way out other than through the sewers.
Sorry, I just want to say Lee has no survival instinct either,
He
because
does
he tries
not.
to push the dumpster before he realizes, oh, there's people coming from the other way too. Like, just climb over the fucking thing, use it as a barrier for when you get over.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. I suppose when you're thinking like that and panicking, I suppose it's
Yeah, I guess that's fair. If you're getting surrounded in an alley, you're probably pretty worked up.
yeah, it's easy for us to say, but like it could be anything.
Yeah, I mean, his alternative idea was picking up a 50-pound manhole, though. So,
Yeah, I mean it's better than nothing, I guess. A 50-pound manhole. Luckily that Molly threw down that pick so he could actually pull it out.
yeah.
Otherwise he wouldn't have the strength to do it. You would have been screwed.
I don't like this whole sewer thing. The whole sewer subplot, pun intended, of this whole Savannah episode is so, like, plot convenience. So we go through this sewer a little bit and we find Chuck's body down here. He didn't make it. Rip.
Yeah, he's getting eaten by zombies.
As we like narrowly escape this area, we somehow bump into this cancer patient group's survival room, like just by knocking over a painting, like, or a poster. Like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
It just leads right to their storeroom.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job. But they were probably not thinking of humans, they're probably thinking of zombies. It's like, okay, if the zombies don't see the big gaping hole, they should be fine. They probably won't fuck with it.
The guy in here that we're gonna meet, Vernon, he tells us that they use sewers to like get around Savannah. And I'm like, how? It's full of zombies, and there
Exactly.
wasn't any other paths.
Yeah. I actually failed this part like at least once or twice because I'm sorry, like she ends up being cool, but at this point I'm like this dumb bitch that like accuses us of being part of Crawford. What was
Oh,
her name?
I don't like this girl.
Yeah, dude, she
Bree.
fucking sucked. Bree, yeah, dude, she sucked. She's like, yeah, kill him. He's a part of Crawford. We can't let him go. I'm like, well, you just treat anybody that comes down here as Crawford and you just fucking kill them? It's like, come on. It's like, you think there's more people in this world other than Crawford? You really think that's just you and Crawford? That's it?
To be fair, they
I
did
was
set up
mad,
their
bro.
base like immediately under Crawford.
That's true, but like, how could you just assume everybody? Like, we had no idea what was going on. We just wandered in here, and like, you just think we're part of Crawford, and you decided to kill us. And like there is some dialogue decisions that you could say that was wrong, or I don't know if it was like a quick time event or something.
Oh, that like
But I
gets you
ended up
killed.
dying here. Yeah, I ended
Oh,
up dying here and getting shot because like I was just like mad because of this dumb bitch because it just didn't make sense to me.
yeah. I didn't know you could get shot here. The successful way to go through is, I think, talking them down until you can pretty much just grab the pistol out of Vernon's hands.
Yeah, I must have used the wrong dialogue options, and Vernon ended up shooting me because I didn't react in time. And I'm like, I don't know why I wanted to go up in here and try to grab this guy's gun. That'll make him want to shoot me. Um, and yeah, I was trying to think of like a logical way around this because like I'm not who like. I am who I say I am. That should be enough. But Bree was like, "Yeah, kill him." I'm like, "Dude, stop." I was like, ugh. I was
Yeah.
frustrated with this part, man.
Luckily enough, we run into our third doctor of the apocalypse. This guy's actually a real doctor, though.
He
Not
is a human
uh,
doctor.
or a human doctor, I shouldn't say real.
Yeah.
You're all real doctors. This guy just works on humans.
Yeah. Yeah. The any veterinarians out there, we do thank you for our pets. But
Yes.
like you are real doctors, but this is a human doctor.
Human doctor, yes. Someone who can actually look at Omid, whose leg is very fucked up. Though a vet could deal with that too. Actually, really anyone with, I think, basic medical skills could probably deal with the leg.
Yep.
Like, because all Vernon comes and does is say he needs antibiotics.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm
And
like, okay.
yeah, it's enough, I guess. You know, this guy dying. I guess he is dying of infection, so I guess it's true that he did need antibiotics.
Yeah. I feel like the straightforward answer is penicillin, right? I don't know. There's probably more complexities to it, like, oh,
Yeah,
he's allergic to penicillin or anything else, but
I, I would say so. Yeah, because it was like, yeah, he needs medicine. It's like, no shit, he needs medicine. What kind of medicine do you need?
yep. But yeah, Vernon agrees to take a look at Omid's leg, and we convince him to take us back to our house as well, since he knows Savannah.
Yeah, our hideout that we first fled into, and that's where Molly was. She was hanging out there the whole time.
Yep.
And when we get back, Clementine's missing.
Yeah, turns out she was in the shed in the backyard. She gives us a little jump scare. I don't know how she got in there and then closed the doors on herself, but
Right? Like, I don't know how she got in there, bro. Because like the vines were on the shed and everything, so it didn't
yeah.
even look like it was opened. So like, how the fuck did she get in there?
She jump scares us a little bit, and she's like, "Look at the plot convenience I found. The only boat
Yeah.
left in Savannah."
Yeah, exactly. The only working boat that left in Savannah, and you know, Kenny was really happy to hear about this, and
He's like, "All she needs is gas and a battery. Too easy."
yeah, too easy. So we
Yeah, but
stumble on to our next quest of getting a gas and a battery, and like, well,
yeah,
who has gas and a battery? Well, guess who?
Crawford.
It's Crawford. And so we have to devise a plan to steal it from them.
Yeah, did you bring Clem with you for this, or did you leave her behind?
I brought her with me. Clementine's a trooper, man. Like, I definitely have like wholehearted trust in an 8-year-old. You know what I mean? Like,
More than Ben.
yeah, more than Ben. Fuck that guy. Like, if I was choosing between Ben and Clementine, I'd choose an 8-year-old over Ben, bro. Like, that dude sucks.
If Telltale would like, can you please add a DLC where I leave Ben behind during the Crawford raid?
Exactly.
Because he actually gets more people killed during this one as well.
Oh, he does?
Yeah,
Holy shit.
we'll get into that when we get there, but this motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, I remember what you're talking about now. Okay, yeah.
I just had to bring Clem with as well because she's helpful, even though everyone disagrees with that option.
Yeah.
Vernon brings Bree with as well because he's going to break in with us, and fuck Bree. I don't like
She's
this
all
girl.
right. She at least agrees to help us. I mean, after all that, I'm with you. I was still mad that she was just like opting to kill us rather than hear us out at all
Yeah.
at the beginning there. Because like I died 3 times. Like I still have some fucking, I have some grudge there, you know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but like,
She's a more annoying Krista. Like, at least
oh
Krista has some
man,
likable abilities. Bree is somewhat nice eventually for the short life she gets,
yeah.
but she's also kind of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't remember even talking to her after that whole thing. I'm like, fuck you, Bree. I'm out of here.
Kenny also, before we head out into the heist, tells us that the boat can only hold a certain amount of people. So we're going to have to make a decision when we return of who to actually bring with. Luckily,
Yeah,
we won't even have to run into that decision because we will be coming back with less people.
I already made my decision. I was like, all right, fuck Ben and fuck Bree. Like these people fucking suck. If they don't get us killed now, they'll get us killed later,
Yep.
and that kind of shows later on. But yeah. So we go out into the heist into Crawford, which is like, I think Crawford is like in a university or a high school or something.
Yeah, at least it's like their main building, or it's like college campus, something like that. But we get to explore this place a bit, and Turns out Crawford actually doesn't have people anymore. They're all walkers.
Yeah, they got taken over. They're all walkers.
I don't know how Vernon or Molly like never figured this out because it's obviously been a while
Yep.
since they all died. Lee makes this decision. We sneak up on a guard as we leave the sewer grate. He's immediately gonna fucking kill the guy with an axe, and it turns around it's a zombie and surprises him. And I'm like, you were just gonna kill this random guy? You're just taking the word that of Molly that he's bad.
I mean, I kind of got the vibe that they were bad. I mean, they were like fucking Nazis, dude. They killed children. They wouldn't allow the weak or whatever. Like, fuck these people.
Did they say they killed him? I thought they just wouldn't let him in their camp.
No, they fucking killed kids. Like, we get to actually like experience some of this when we're investigating. Like, somebody got pregnant and they were gonna like, like kill the kid.
Yeah,
Anybody who's weak, anybody who's old, anybody who's young, or anything, anybody that's not able to contribute to anything, they will fucking either kill or, cast out, which is basically murdering them. These are not good people.
I guess. Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree with that. I agree that they're not good people. I didn't see any like evidence of them actually killing them, other than trying to convince the girl into having an abortion.
yeah, I suppose. But like in an apocalyptic situation like this, anybody who's going to be acting like that, in my book,
Yeah, I mean, not good. Obviously, not good people. But I feel like Lee's above just murdering random people just because he heard they're bad.
yeah, I suppose he kind of took their word for it. Yeah, he was ready to just murder some
I don't
innocent.
know.
I
Like,
mean,
go for the
who
knockout.
knows if they're innocent? But like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was. I mean, it seemed like everybody else was down for it too. It's like I'm gonna
Yeah,
take him out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, go ahead." So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a mob mentality thing.
it could be. It's just one of those
If
weird
it
things
wasn't
that
him, it could have been somebody else too.
that wasn't discussed of
Yeah.
like how they were going to enter and what they were going to do.
No,
Of like
I see your
this,
point.
what was their plan if it wasn't overrun by zombies? Because they were going to have to kill a lot of people. Definitely would have been a gunfight with the kind of different rooms we had to break into.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think they're better off that it was overridden with zombies because, like, the plan that they had here was not going to work.
Nope. But yeah, we some reason there's another horde outside, and they kind of force us into the school right away. But
Yeah.
that's okay. That's where we wanted to go.
So we were able to sneak in, and then we're in a classroom where we're able to devise a plan. But I guess
Yes.
we didn't really do anything about the zombies that were outside because I guess we weren't spotted that much.
Molly says she'll go with us to look for a battery at the auto shop, and the rest of the people split up to go find medicine and gas.
Yeah.
I like this little shop area thing with Molly. I just liked working with her. I think she's a cool character.
Yeah.
We have to puncture this hydraulic hose in the garage to let the car down slowly so we can take out its battery. But I'm like, I knew this was going to happen as soon as we did it. It starts to go down slowly, and then the car just fucking drops onto the ground.
And then it sets off the alarm.
Yep.
Yeah, of course. Until we take off the battery, and then it stops with the alarm, and then the zombies are coming in, so we kind of had to run out of there pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
Molly gets the battery and kind of just fucks off. She's like, "Yeah, I gotta go do something."
She just drops it in her bag like that's not a fucking 20-pound weight.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we were saying. Like, dude, like that is a heavy ass battery. You're just gotta put it in your backpack.
Yeah. That's like,
Holy shit.
even if 20 pounds isn't a burden to you, like
Not
just
even
the
20
shape of,
pounds. Dude, you've carried
just
a
the shape
battery,
of
a
it.
car battery? Dude, those things are like fucking 60 pounds, bro. Like 50, 60 pounds.
I
They
don't
are
think they're
not
that
light
much.
at all. No, they are heavy.
I think maybe 30 at most, but either way, it's a very awkward shape. And with the kind of backpack she had, I'm like, there's no way that's not actively ripping out the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, it was stupid, but she fucks off, and we head back to our classroom to kind of reconvene with everyone, and that's when we pass by that door, and Kenny and Bree just barely make it in with the gas, and we
Yeah.
have to put our axe in the door.
Yeah, and that's when we put the axe through the door, and we're safe for now as long as the axe is in the door.
Yeah, I hope no one moves the axe.
I hope nobody is like, "Hey, here's an axe. Put into this door handle. It can't be here for a reason. I'm just gonna take it."
we go to the nurse's office then with Vernon and Krista. We kind of get to see like the story we are talking about with the pregnant lady in like a series of videotapes,
Yep.
and we also get the code to get into the medicine locker with those videotapes.
Yeah. So basically, we were mostly right. I mean, these people at Crawford, they have no remorse for what they do for trying to survive, and
Mhm.
they call out the weak pretty much. So anybody has a baby, they're just like, nah, veto that shit. So it's like, what is the point of surviving if you're not gonna like try to live a normal life? You know what I mean? Like, you're just gonna not gonna reproduce. You're just gonna let yourselves die out, and yeah, just go like, I can't understand what the philosophy with these Crawford people are, because like, if you just like, you see somebody who's pregnant and you gotta kill the baby, it's just like, what is the point of surviving? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
and then
like,
you guys are going to age yourself out, and then all of you are going to be old and have to kill
you're gonna
yourselves.
you're gonna die anyways. It's like, these people don't understand the concept of like, life is limited. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Like, what happens when you get old? You just cast out until there's no one left.
yeah, and then again, like, what's the point of living? It's like that. That's why we exist as humans. Is like eat, sleep, and reproduce, right? Like,
I can understand like asking people not to have babies until like you're well off with food and supplies, but to like completely outlaw it as an option altogether, like
just kind of
saying
just
like, "Hey, we're never gonna have babies." Like what?
yeah, that makes no sense at that point. It's like, well, are you trying to rebuild civilization, or are you just kind of like, you're so selfish that you're just trying to make life
Good for
cush
you.
for yourself, and
Yeah.
just like eat until you die, and then of old age, and then you're fine. You don't give a shit.
Yep.
So yeah,
Somehow, when we go to this nurse's office for the first time, there's a whole bunch of walkers outside,
yeah.
and like, how did they get in? What? Where?
Yeah, I don't know where they came in from, because it wasn't until afterwards, the dumbass had to show himself. But like, yeah, so I don't know how they got in. I'm guessing it had to have been that door that we came in from helping
Yeah,
Molly
but
at the maintenance shop.
it was all like fenced off out there because we
That's
had to climb
true,
it.
but it got knocked down, didn't it?
The internal fence by the shop, but not the one we had
Oh,
to climb.
that's true. So
It just
yeah,
weird
who
consistencies.
knows where they came from?
Yeah. After we get all the medicine and stuff, we start to head back, and this is when Ben jumps out because Molly re-meets back up with us and gives us our battery. And Ben's like, "Hey, guess what I found? I think you
Yeah,
could use this."
yeah,
I
this
just
hatchet.
found it sitting in the door over there.
Yeah, it's like, it was just sitting there. I just had to grab it.
It
Like,
just looks
and
shiny and
then
neat.
that's when I was like, I'm pretty sure you were the same way, because you recognized that axe, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh no,
I wanted to take it and fucking kill him with it.
yeah, dude, you fucking dumbass. We've done this before at the fucking drugstore. Well, I guess he wasn't with us at the drugstore, but like,
Yeah.
this is what we
It was
do to keep the walkers out. Like, why
should
would
be
you
common
take that
sense.
axe, man?
And
Ugh.
like, did he not see them? They were glass doors. Come on now.
They were glass doors, and they were sitting there the whole time while that
Yeah.
axe was in there. So it's like, did they just walk away for a good 5 minutes while he walked up? That would have been very
Yeah.
convenient.
It's very turns into very comedic timing because as soon as
Yeah,
Lee realizes it and he looks behind him, of course they all burst through.
yeah. And then we had to run back to the classroom where everybody else was, and yeah, Bree was holding the door while we try to find a way to get out.
Yep. As Kenny keeps trying to bust into this door labeled Armory, Ben decides, okay, I fucked up again. Let's fuck up some more. I think that's the perfect time to tell Kenny I got his wife and child killed because I was the guy
Oh,
giving stuff to the
man.
bandits.
I get he had some guilt. I tried to stop him. This is literally like the worst timing of all
Exactly.
times to like confess this shit.
Lee was even saying that, like, not right now, later.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, do not say it. Stop. Shut up. And he just kept saying it. And I'm like, oh my God. And then Kenny wanted to fight him. And then, like, we need to get out of here. And it's like, oh my God.
Yep. Bree gets pulled through the door.
Yeah, Bree gets killed because she gets pulled through the door and she gets eaten by zombies and stuff. So that was
She,
unfortunate. But
I feel like this was called for, and this is good karma for her. I probably
yeah,
should say that. She wasn't that bad of a person, but during this exchange where Kenny wants to fucking rip Ben's throat out, he's
yeah,
like, we're leaving him here. And for some reason, we take the time to call a vote with the group.
yeah.
Krista chimes in, and Bree chimes in with their votes. I'm like, neither of you part of our group. Shut up.
You weren't even here.
But
What
Bree
do you
annoyed me
know?
more. I'm like, you're not even staying with us. Why are you voting?
You weren't even there when that shit happened. Why would you even think of a fucking even putting in a vote? It's like
And
fuck that.
I felt bad because I was in a rush because of the whole situation. And I just clicked a button and I told Clem she's not allowed to vote. I'm like, that's
Yeah,
not what I meant because he like yelled at her.
yeah. Well, in a sense, like you were right though. Even though it was an accident, like I mean, I don't think she. Well, maybe she should, but
I
I
mean,
think I opted to have her vote, and she said that she would. You know, Ben's my friend.
yeah,
We should keep him and
which is
stuff like that,
no
which
offense,
is good for
Clem.
her. But
Also, probably why you shouldn't get a vote is because I don't think she understands the complexities of what he's done.
yeah, exactly, yeah, that she doesn't understand the complexities. So yeah, yeah, I guess you can't leave the fate of a life in the hands of an 8-year-old because they just don't really understand.
I was like the whole time, and I was like, I don't want to vote at all. I was trying to pick the dialogue options that were going to end it fastest, so we can get out of
Yeah,
here and do this
exactly.
later.
Yeah, not right now. Can we just wait? And then Kenny was just not having it. He's like, no, we need to figure it out now.
Yep,
And
we're leaving it behind right now.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, he ended up coming with us anyways because like, shit's going down, and we weren't gonna leave him there. Like, we're not a Larry, so we're not gonna leave him there.
we get through the armory door, and it turns out it's just the bell tower to the school.
Yeah.
So it's just a big fucking staircase upwards.
Everybody else got up, but we have to fight our way through because we
Yeah,
have the axe and the shotgun and all that shit. And it's like, so it was like this whole thing of climbing up the stairs, fighting zombies.
this is pretty cool, except for the part where you're like get stuck and you have to like keep going between shooting and pulling your leg over and over.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm like trying to be cautious. I'm like looking up and then like trying to pull my leg, like looking up, trying to pull my leg,
Yep.
which is cool though. Like it kind of like adds to that whole
Tension.
situation. It's like you got to
Yeah.
be aware, but also trying to help yourself. It's just kind of cool. I like that.
Did feel like a badass though, going up the stairs and killing all the zombies from behind.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. It killed tons of zombies in that bell tower. I don't know how they got in there before us, but there's a bunch of zombies to kill.
Yep. There's conveniently a ladder and a window at the top.
Yep.
I think as some sort of sick joke, Crawford has a zombie tied to the bell, like the little ringer rope in the middle.
Yep.
And as we're all escaping out the ladder, the zombie swings by from the bell and grabs Ben.
Yeah.
We kind of get a split decision here to leave or try and save Ben as he falls down, is like hanging from the bell tower there. What did you do here?
Yeah. I ended up dropping him because, like, not only the part that he said that, I should drop him, I'm
Yeah,
like, this dude is going to get us killed, man. Like, I can't, like, I feel shitty for doing something like this, but like, if it wasn't for Kenny ratting me out, like nobody would have known that he would have died just because he couldn't make it. You know what I mean?
Oh, can he rats you out later if you drop him?
He does. Did you save him?
Yeah, I saved him in this instance.
Oh
Kenny's
wow.
such a
Yeah,
fucking
no, like
asshole.
I ended up dropping him because he said just drop me, and then I'm like, you
Okay,
know what?
bet.
Like you already fucked up so many times. Like I can't, I I can't do this. Like I don't know. Like probably a bad moral decision on my part, but like I felt like I had to drop him.
I I save him. Just he's a fuck up, but I don't know. I keep hoping that I could find some redemption in him. Kenny though, for me saving him, I just take a little bit longer to pull the guy up.
Yeah,
And Kenny is the last to go down the ladder, and he stares at me, struggling to pull Ben up, and just goes down the ladder. I'm like, you motherfucker.
yeah. Like
I'm
he
like,
doesn't really care.
I get you don't care about Ben, but you're gonna let me get left here.
Yeah, exactly.
At least
Like,
cover
what the
me.
fuck? Yeah,
But we do make it all back then, except for Ben for you.
yeah. Except for Ben. Ben gets lost in my part.
And Vernon almost immediately like approaches us about taking Clementine off our hands. He says they can watch her better.
Yeah,
I
when he
told
says
him I'd
this,
think about it. I
that's
wanted to be
exactly what
nice.
I told him too.
You could tell him to stuff it, but then he gets really pissed at you.
It like he has a point. Like I'm sure, like his with his community and everything. Like I have, like I didn't have a doubt that they would be able to take care of Clementine.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing what happens in episode 3 or 5, anyways. I was like, yeah, like I'm sure you'd be great, but like, I have to think about it. I have to talk it over with her because, like, in the end, like if she doesn't want to go, I'm not going to make her go.
Yeah,
I
yep.
don't
I
know,
figured that was
just
the
doing
best
the best I
decision
could.
too, because then I could always just not bring it up with Clem if I changed my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
But Vernon kind of leaves back to his group. Molly, for some reason, decides she doesn't want to join us, and she's never seen in the game again.
Yeah, she just leaves.
Yep, she's like, I'll dip.
Bye.
I'm good.
I mean,
That's the last time you'll see her in The Walking Dead.
yeah, and it was kind of weird because like she did that whole thing with grabbing the battery and leaving for a little bit. We were having speculations like she was going to help her friend, or no, take revenge on that guy that did something to her friend at Crawford or something.
Yeah, well, she killed the doctor, or the zombie version of the doctor that was trying to convince
Yeah,
her friend for the abortion. But I'm like,
she had some sort of vendetta with him, and I was
yeah,
wondering because like she didn't actually kill the zombie though. At least I don't think so. I don't think she killed the zombie, so I think she was like going back to kill him or
could
something,
be, yeah.
or
I
going to do some investigation with that. And then like we were kind of left with like no resolve on her kind of story arc because like we were kind of hoping to see like more of what was going on with her history with Crawford or whatever, but we never found out.
There is more to discover. Like, there's a locker on your way to the classroom that you can find a code for. Gives you more backstory, but I don't think it ever fully describes what happens with her.
Oh,
I think she was either like that was her sister or something, or a close friend. But
yeah. So you actually don't get no resolve with like that whole story arc.
not that I recall.
Oh,
But yeah, we Clem asks us if we will have time to look for her parents before we leave on the boat, and I told her the truth this time and said that we wouldn't. And she gets very sad and kind of just lays by the window crying. For some reason, Lee decides to leave her radio next to her and then takes a nap on the chair while overwatching her. So of course we wake up and her and the radio are gone.
yeah.
I think we kind of know who took her.
Yeah, whoever that was on the radio.
Yep. Lee immediately thinks it's Vernon because he offered to take her, but
Well, we at this point in time we think it's we still think that was Vernon on the radio or something.
Yeah, or I don't think they said that. I think they just thought Vernon took her because they offered.
Oh, well, at least I was convinced that Vernon was the guy on the radio the whole time or something. Because, like, they,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess they don't sound that different. In a sense, maybe my memory is bad, and I'm like, okay, that could have been the guy that was on the radio or something,
yep,
or something. It could have been Vernon because, like, he was also offering to take her with them on their conclave or whatever.
yeah. We find Clem's hat outside, and then we find her radio outside the gate of the house. We go to pick it up, and Walker gives us a little chomp on the arm, just a little nibble.
Yeah, yeah, and then the rest of the
Immediately
people,
freaks out.
yeah, yeah, I freaked out too. I'm like,
He's like,
no,
"Oh fuck!"
I was,
I feel like it was the proper reaction.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck, dude? I can't do
He's
this
like,
right now.
yeah, he was just kind of like in denial a little bit about it. He's like, "Oh no, come on, not me."
Yeah,
I felt so sad.
it was terrible, man. And then the rest of the people come up, and you have the option to either lie to them or tell them the truth
Your
about
bite.
your bite.
I showed him right away. I feel like there's no reason to hide it.
Exactly. That's what I did too. Um, I'm like, I trust these people. They would understand. At least if Lee died, then they would actually still go out and look for Clementine. At least if I could convince them to do that.
Exactly.
So then they were really understanding. There was like, no matter what, we're gonna go find Clementine and we're gonna deal with you when the time comes. But like, we'll figure it out.
Yep. You kind of get your gang together here to go search for Clementine, and like based on your decisions, certain people come or don't come with you
Yep.
on this little journey. It doesn't really make a difference in the end who comes or not. Kenny didn't end up coming with me because I pissed him off. Because I told him I was going to bring Ben with me. He's like, if Ben's going, I'm not going.
Oh,
So I brought Ben, Omid, and Krista with me.
yeah. I didn't bring Ben with me, obviously, but I brought Kenny, Omid, and Krista with me. So that's who was with me at the underground place where Vernon was located, and we
Yep.
found out that it was empty. Nobody's there. They all cleared out.
Yep. And we get a radio Bert again and find out that it wasn't Vernon that took him.
Yeah.
That took Clem.
Yep.
The episode kind of ends there, and as soon as the episode ended and like was going to the title card thing, my fucking game crashed.
Oh, it did?
So I
No
don't know if
way.
there was anything after the radio.
No, that's it. It shows the community thing.
Okay, because yeah, it just picked me right up in episode 5 after this.
Yeah, no, it showed the community thing, and believe it or not, everything was 50% for everything.
Yeah, I feel like there's nothing really divisive. Like they're all like hard decisions in this one.
Yeah, so you could go either way. So like with most people, like everybody just like split down the middle with everything.
Yeah. When we were escaping the bell tower, this is another idea that came up. Like before Ben drops, Vernon takes a second to look out the bell tower and says, "Did you guys come in through the railway?" And I never understood if there was a point to this. Like it's never followed up on. It was just a weirdly like it focused in on that question when he asked it. And I don't I don't know if there's ever a payoff or a reason for it. It's just something that bothered me from the episode.
Did you guys come in from the railway?
Yeah, like as he was looking out from the bell tower.
Oh.
He's like, does he intend to steal our train? But obviously not, because we'll find out that they want our boat instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't get what the point of it was. Just a weird line that like had me thinking about it.
I guess I didn't think too much about it. Like maybe I was thinking more of like a directional standpoint. It's like, did you come in from the north or south, or it's like the
Oh,
railway's kind of just from that direction? Did you come in from over there? I thought
well,
he was trying to help us.
yeah. Well, Lee like asked him why he asked, and he's like, "Oh, nothing."
Oh, yeah, that would kind of make it suspicious, wouldn't it?
Just yeah, I just wrote that one down. I was like, I wonder if you experienced anything in your playthrough that led to believe why he asked it, but
Nope, no, nothing suspicious there. Must have not have been that important.
yeah, yeah. And then we jump into episode 5. No time left. We're gonna
Yep.
take one last break here before we get to that.
No, man! I'm not leaving! What did I just say? Let's get Ben and get out of here! What the fuck, Kenny?
Lee, it's okay.
No, Ken. No, it's not!
It's just something I gotta do. You know that. Go get that girl.
Ain't no time left for Lee.
Ain't no time.
We start this episode off right where we left off with episode 4. We're just standing in Vernon's hideout. Walkers try to come in from the sewer entrance that we came in, so we have to quickly block it off and look for another way out.
Yep.
This is what leads us to trying to get the elevator shaft open to exit that way. But just as Lee gets it open, he passes out from the infection spreading. This is where we get a pretty cool decision where we wake up and they kind of have us on the table and they're about to cut our arm off, and you either get to choose to go through with it or tell them no.
Yeah, I chose to go through with it because I know in the Walking Dead universe that if you cut off the arm, then you'd be able to save somebody from it.
Yeah,
And so it seemed fine to me. I mean, you put on a tourniquet and everything. It's just like, let's just do it.
which is very valid. For my first playthrough, I cut off his arm as well because I thought, oh, maybe it could actually make a difference at saving him. But on subsequent ones, realizing it doesn't actually make a difference, I opted to keep my arm so I could have more fighting power for the end of the game here.
Yeah. Yeah, cutting off your arm definitely makes things a lot more tough, especially like climbing ladders. It's like it's weird to climb a ladder now that you have one arm. You know, you didn't have to do it any other time.
Yep.
But yeah,
He does say
So-
it starts to go numb and he loses feeling in it, but it doesn't really stop him from using tools in his left hand. So it doesn't make much of a difference for me.
yeah. But yeah, we climb up to the roof, and we have to find another way to get off the roof. Fire escape isn't a thing because it just goes right down to the walkers. But we found out that getting to the bell tower was the best idea. So
Yeah. So we can jump over to that roof, ring the bell, draw the walkers there, then go down the fire escape.
exactly.
I don't know why there's so many fucking bells in Savannah. Maybe it's a coastal city thing.
I don't know.
There's
They're
just
everywhere.
everywhere in this town, man.
Yeah. And then climb down the fire escape to actually get back to the house. And the big manor that we were at. And find out that that boat that we were gonna take to the lake or to the river and take off with is gone.
Yeah. It's even more funny if you have left Kenny behind, like I did, because they trapped him in the boat shed and beat him up. A bunch of cancer patients who were like 60 plus beat him up.
Really? What?
Yep. Yeah, he was all beat up and stuffed in the shed. So that's how they explained
Cancer
away.
patients?
Yeah, they're all cancer patients in remission. That's what that whole group is. Vernon's
Oh,
group.
that's right. Yeah, because that's why they got cast out of what
Crawford.
is called Crawford.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
yeah,
it's,
he
it's
got
funny
beat
that
up.
Kenny couldn't take him on because I know he has a gun too. It's stupid, but
Yeah.
they had a plan for the eventuality that you didn't bring everyone to go look for Clementine.
Yeah.
This is where since Ben was still alive for me, those two started fighting, and Ben kind of goes off on Kenny, um, saying that at least you get to say goodbye to your family. Like, I never got to see mine. I don't know if they're even alive or dead. And Kenny actually backs down from Ben and like starts not treating him as harshly anymore after this. Once he realizes that like he lost his family too, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's not an excuse because yeah, everyone lost a lot of their families in the apocalypse, but you actively participated in getting Kenny's killed. I feel like
Yeah.
it's a difference.
There is a clear difference there. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't imagine being Kenny in this situation because, like, that's just like there's so much anguish going on there. And, it would take a lot for him to, like, not beat the shit out of him first
Yeah,
chance he gets. So,
I don't know what the excuse is for your playthrough, but that yelling is what draws a horde of walkers to the house, and we get kind of pushed inside to the house, fighting them off.
um, I don't exactly remember what happened to make the walkers come in, but they I think it was us arguing about what to do after finding out the boat was gone that it was also yelling that made the
Oh,
walkers
yep, what to
attract.
do next?
Yeah, so then we get locked in the house and we're up in the attic now with
We're really bad strategists or strategists.
yeah,
We're like, okay, let's take this big piece of furniture and use it to stop them. No, they put it in the hallway to slow them down. Push it down the stairs. They're not going to get over it.
exactly.
You could just pick them off with your knives. But
Exactly. Yeah, you could put it like sideways and throw it down the stairs. They're not gonna
yeah,
be able to get through that. There's no way.
they don't have the motor skills to climb up it like normal.
No, they don't.
But
Uh,
anyways, we retreated to the attic because we're terrible at this.
yeah.
End up having a fight with Kenny up here because we're trapped in there, a full house of zombies in a really bullshit reason of finding out an escape. Lee throws a bust at Kenny and it misses and puts a hole in the wall. We're like, oh, the houses next door are connected to us.
Yeah. And I thought that was funny. I'm like, oh, the wall is soft. And then Kenny's like, yeah, let's take shifts here. I'll take first shift and we'll just keep banging at this wall. So you get to go over and sit with you know,
Yeah, Krista.
Krista and Omid and talk to him about stuff and while they're taking
Yeah.
shifts and then Omid takes over and starts beating at the wall and
While we're sitting here, we end up passing out again, and we wake up because Clementine talks on the radio, and
yeah.
this is where we get our information of where to find Clem. She says she's went to where her parents are, so we know to go search for that hotel is where that guy's keeping her.
Yep.
So once we get through that wall to the next house, pretty much get to use that house to go through their bedroom balcony to jump up onto the rooftops. Here, I can't remember how this plays out if you don't have Ben, but each person that jumps weakens the balcony a little bit. Did anyone fall for you?
Nobody fell. So it was just me, Krista, Omid, and Kenny, and we all made it.
Okay, that makes sense. Since Ben was with us, he was the last to jump, and it was just enough with one more person for the railing to give way, and he falls all the way down to the alleyway,
Oh shit.
down to the bottom there. Lee and Kenny go down to investigate, and the railing punctured through Ben's stomach,
Oh.
so there's no way to get him off. And then the horde starts coming in through both sides of the alley. I find this a really bullshit way to get rid of these guys. Kenny closes the gate on us and tells us to go back up to the roof. And for some moment of remorse, he decides to stay with Ben down there in the alley, even though he's only got one bullet left.
Yeah.
And as he tries to fight off the walkers, he finds out he can't do it. He shoots Ben in the head and tries to get out through the crowd. And then we never see Kenny again. I'm not sure
Damn.
how that one played out for you, though.
Okay, so that didn't happen for me. We all made it, and Ben wasn't there. But we got to this point where that there was a hole, and down there, there's just like an empty room. And I think what happened was, like Kenny bumped into Lee, and or no, Kenny had the radio for some reason. I don't remember why. And then he ended up dropping it in this hole. And then he's like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry." And while we were arguing about what to do, Krista just jumps down there and tries to pick up the radio. And I was like, "What the fuck? Why did you just jump down there?" I should have just been like, "Fuck the radio." We could do this on our own. But like, I'm like, good going, Kenny. I guess I kind of made feel bad for him doing that, and he felt really bad. But like, Krista goes down there and grabs the radio, and then there ends up being walkers down there. So Kenny just like jumps down there, and he's like, "I got to be the hero this time." And then he just jumps down there and lifts Krista up back up to the roof, and he's just like, "Don't worry about me. I'll find my way out." And he runs, and he only had one bullet left, like you said, and he kind of we don't see what happens to him, but I'm pretty sure he got taken out
I feel like
that way.
that's a better way for Kenny's story to go, even though
Yeah,
it's still a stupid way to get rid of his character from the season. I feel like that's a little bit better than sacrificing his life for Ben.
yeah. I mean, yeah, better for Krista than for Ben because Ben just like wouldn't do the same for him anyways.
Yeah, and we could have just shot Ben from the roof.
Yeah, could have. Fuck. Yeah, it was tough, but yeah, that's how Kenny went. But then it was just left with Christo, Mead, and Kenny or Lee.
And Lee. Yeah, we continue on rooftops then until we see the hotel, and I crossed this sign first that we get to. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if you went first or if they did.
I did too. I crossed the sign first, and then it ended up breaking, and
Yep.
we had to go on our own.
I think either way, it's inevitable that we're going to be down on street level and separated from those two.
Yeah,
But since we're bit already, it's like we can't turn twice. So I
right.
use my second arm to grab a piece of glass from the ground. And since we can see the hotel on the distance on the street, we decide to go walker killing to make it there. Since there's a
Yeah,
horde in between us and the hotel, we told Omid and Krista to meet us at the train so that we can get Clementine and get her safely there.
yep,
I really like this getting to kill all the people on the way to the hotel because even if you get bit, it doesn't really matter.
it
Because
doesn't.
I got bit like another time because I failed a quick time event. But yeah, we arrive at the hotel and we see a very familiar station wagon parked out front, and then we head on in and somehow know the right room to go to.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I walked in, I'm like, should we start checking rooms? And I'm like, I went to each door and nothing was working. And I'm like, okay, let's just keep walking, I guess. Then I kept walking until I found the door that was obviously the door I was supposed to go to. Yeah, I'm guessing in my head canon that Clementine told him which room to go to or which room she was in or something. Uh, yeah, that had to make the
Yeah,
most sense to me.
the stranger holds us at gunpoint in here, of course, and we hear Clementine in the other room next door, and we see that it's kind of roped shut.
Yep.
I dropped my weapons here, and I left all of them on the table. I think you can choose to try and hide a knife.
Yeah, I left all my weapons there too. I mean, he had a gun. I didn't really want to try to
Risk it. Yeah.
risk that. Maybe he could be talked down. I was hoping for.
I thought the same. I was hoping we could talk him down a little bit. Stranger kind of tells us his sad life story about what happened with station wagon and him losing his family, and that he wanted Clem to be like his new daughter. I was like, okay, cool. I was playing along with him fake and saying like, yeah, you can take Clem, you'd be a better parent than me. And then we see that his wife's head in his bag he carries around. It's like, oh, okay, he's a nut.
Yeah, he's actually nuts.
Like
I
signal
didn't
with my
play
eyes. Sorry, go ahead.
I didn't play along with any of that. I kind of tried to be remorseful because for some reason he knew who I was. I
Hmm.
guess I made headline, or I guess Lee made headlines about what he did and shit. So I guess there's a lot more people than in this story that knew who he was and what he did. So
He explains. I was wondering that too, but he makes a comment in one of the dialogues that Clem told him everything over the radio when
oh
they talked.
okay,
So she was like keeping him updated of everything that happened.
yeah. I mean, either way, he would have used something for manipulation.
Yeah, I actually talked him down of each point he brought up this time. I was like, actually, I didn't do that, or that one was morally justified, and
Yeah.
like I actually got him to like agree with me. But then when he started talking to the head, is when Clementine was escaping the room, and I was signaling with my eyes to grab my knife on the table.
Oh, okay. So I didn't see what was in the head until Clementine started. Or I, what was in the head? I didn't see what was in the bag until Clementine came out of the room, and so you have this option to point towards the. There's two things you could eye towards. I think it was the radio or the knife,
Hmm.
and they like I don't know how she could tell the difference because like they're in the same area and it's just your eyes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I opted towards the knife. I don't know what the radio outcome would be.
Uh,
Um,
I can't recall, but I feel like that's choosing the banana over the gun.
yeah, exactly. So
So
like,
she stabs the guy with it.
yep, and then that's how you're able to fight him and get him out of the way and actually kill him.
Yep. I actually didn't kill him here. I know it's an option. I overpowered him at first, and then I let him take over me because I was trying not to kill him. I just wanted to like knock him out, but then
Yeah.
Clem shot him.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I guess if you overpower him enough and keep on it, you'll kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, so we get with Clementine, and there's a bunch of walkers outside, and we're trying to figure out like why haven't the zombies attacked me or attacked Lee yet? So I mean, my main thing was just like, okay, I'm bitten. They must think I'm one of them, but it was
Yep.
actually like the blood all over Lee that camouflaged him, I guess. So
Oh yeah, I also thought it was because we were like half walker already.
yeah, no, like that's what I was thinking at first until he came up with the idea of like putting the blood all over
Yep.
Clementine, and that's how we're gonna get out of here.
We zombify Clem up, and we head out into the street, and we see Clem's parents out in the street.
Yeah,
Clem starts to like look at them and kind of like want to go towards them, and then this is when we pass out again.
yeah. So I mean, at least Clem seeing her parents zombified, like that gives her some closure. Whether you told her about her parents or not,
Yeah, she knows now for sure.
she knows now.
She somehow managed to drag our heavy ass into a shop and close the door.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this girl is just a trooper, man. She
She's
is
resourceful.
so resourceful and resilient. Like she's great. Yeah, we get to that, and we have to figure out how to get her out of here. Because we don't. At this point, you see Lee, and he's just like really pale
He's
and
white.
about to die. Yeah, and so we kind of know how this is going to go. So we got to figure out how to get Clem out of here and get her to Omid and Krista.
Yep. I really like this whole last section with Lee, just because
Yeah,
this entire room and all the dialogue with Clem is just teaching her parting lessons.
It is.
Like everything in here is just telling her things of how to survive.
Yep.
And just passing off, like instead of like, oh no, I'm dying, like he spends his last moments making sure Clem will be a good survivor.
Yep. It was really heart wrenching because like at this point you're trying to like tell her to grab things around the room because you got to get into this room to grab the keys from this zombie that was used to be the security guard. Yeah, he has keys on him that we need to get, and you're basically just telling her
His
how to do things.
cuffs,
and and, and his cuffs. Yeah.
yeah, because we want Clem to chain us to the radiator.
Yep. We chain ourselves to the radiator because I mean, she like I didn't explicitly tell her what was going to happen to me, but like I knew she knew,
She,
and like I just kind of just
oh,
told her I won't be around.
yeah, I told her I was bit.
Yeah, I yeah, that's what I did too. Yeah, and yeah, it was still like it was very sad this ending part of the game, man. I was just in tears, man. I was like what I was saying, like I was just sobbing, man. Like I couldn't deal with this. It was too emotional.
It's not easy because Lee's there just trying to be strong and impart some parting wisdom on Clem, and Clem's just crying the whole time. Like she just saw her parents die. For me, she just had to kill a guy,
Yeah.
and
Oh
now she's
man.
gonna have to deal with losing Lee.
Deal
We
with
got her.
losing Lee and knowing that she's gonna be alone and she has to learn how to survive on her own and then
Nope.
like
As an
and I
8-year-old.
know like us and Lee we have all the faith in the world that she'll be able to take care of herself. But like it's just like that thing that she's just so scared. And like I went through all the dialogue options of telling her just not be afraid
Mm-hmm.
because like fear is what kills us. I mean, that's the thing, like when you think about like human nature, like fear is what keeps us alive. But in parts like this, like you can't like let her believe that fear is what you can't let fear stop you from doing what you need to do in the apocalypse like this. And then that's what I was thinking. So it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, I'm just kept telling her like, don't be afraid. Oh man, it was so rough.
it's we even see that she's not ready, but she doesn't really have a choice.
She
We
doesn't.
The cop ends up getting out of his chair, like because he was stuck there, but manages to escape, and she like is barely crawling away from him, and like was gonna get eaten if we weren't there to help.
Yeah.
We have to like slide her the baseball bat so she can kill it, and I feel so bad because I'm like, I feel like I could definitely see her like just walking out that door and immediately getting eaten after
Yeah.
leaving us.
And yeah, and then it's like, did you tell her to grab the handcuffs or the gun first, or the
Uh,
keys to get out
I
the
told
room?
her the gun because it's like you always want to get a gun first
Yeah,
for
that's
safety.
that's what I did too. Um, yeah, I don't know if it mattered because the zombies still ended up breaking out and grabbing her and stuff, and you had to kick her the
Yeah,
baseball bat. But holy shit, it was just like it was scary. It was emotional. It was all things wrapped
it's
up into like 15 minutes of just like pure cinematic.
yeah because you start to feel like you put yourself into Lee as well, and you're like you're
Yeah,
just watching like your pseudo daughter like almost getting eaten, and like you can't do anything.
exactly. And it was rough, man. Like I never cried so much playing a game.
It's she does manage to kill the zombie, and we kind of get to impart our final lesson upon Clem here. She gets us the cuffs from the officer and start the game in cuffs and end the game in cuffs,
Yeah.
tied up to the radiator. Um, And we get our last choice here. After some parting advice with Clem, we get to either ask her to leave us or to shoot us.
Yeah, I
game,
ended up telling her to leave me because I don't think she should do that for real. Like, I don't know. That seemed to be too much.
I always tell her to shoot me every time.
Really?
I don't want to be a walker, and yeah, I know it's hard for her, but I feel like it's also a necessary thing she'll need to learn.
I suppose.
Won't be the last person she cares about she'll have to shoot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But whatever you decide, Lee will die.
Yeah.
And Clem has to go out on her own. And God, this ending just brings the feels. Every time I play it, no matter how many times. It's a sad game.
It's very sad.
We roll to credits after that then. Whether you leave her or your last scene is a gunshot. And then we do get an after credit scene after this as well of Clem walking in a field. And then we see two figures off in the distance. And then they stop walking and look at her. And that's kind of all we get. We don't really know if she met up with them in the season.
Yeah, we don't really know.
But yeah, that's The Walking Dead.
That's The Walking Dead season 1. It is it was a fantastic game beginning to end. Honestly, it was a great storytelling. Great, I loved it.
I do too. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and definitely one of my favorite choice games.
Yeah.
That's if you have any thoughts about The Walking Dead, either the show or any of the games, we can always be reached at hazardousopinionspod@gmail.com or on Instagram at hazardousopinionspod. And we have a Discord in the description. You can chat with us down there using the invite link and tell us how sad this game made you.
Yeah, how much did you cry? Be sure to let us know.
Yeah. In the future, we're going to be changing up our gaming schedule a little bit. Movies are still going to remain the same. We're just experimenting with some other things that we want to do for gaming. So don't exactly have a set thing picked up for July. Just know we're going to continue discussing things. It just might be a different format than normal.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be full game reviews, but if there will be one, if they will be, it'll just be less frequent. But we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna give you something good. So,
indeed. But yeah, that's all we got. The Walking Dead.
Yeah, then we will see you guys next time.
See ya
later.